All right, welcome back to the Fighting Truth podcast on Unscripted Truth TV. Big episode 25 in 2025. Logan here with Austin as usual, and going to have a pretty fun episode tonight. It's not going to be as, I guess, sleuthy as much as it will be philosophical, or we'll wax poetic as on some things we want to talk about. But we will jump into the headlines. We do like to cover the NASCAR races because I feel like that's like somewhere. I mean, up until this year, I haven't paid a single lick of attention to it, other than like knowing who Jeff Gordon was in my childhood. But I feel like we've been kind of picking these races apart, and this is another example because if you watched last episode, you heard us come to our conclusions about the race and about the Bell three-peat, and that came to fruition. And along with that, we have news of another plane crash, which, like I say, I know. I'm sorry I'm boring you guys. I know you guys are all waiting for Luigi Mangione news, but unfortunately, we're getting another plane crash. All right, I don't make the rules, but maybe if he's like exonerated to another, or like he has to go to some other state to be arraigned, maybe his plane will crash, and then it'll be the best of both worlds. But until then, we got another plane crash, this one near Philadelphia again, and we'll make some connections with that. I think it's quite blatant and clear what this one's all about, and we'll get into that briefly, and then yeah, that's pretty much it. And then we'll have a little bit of a philosophical discussion, and really just riff on some things that we want to riff on, basically. But stay tuned and get involved, and you'll see. But without further ado, send it down to Austin. How you doing, buddy? I know you weren't feeling good this week. How you doing?
Yeah, I've been and I won't say like really like that sick, but it's been like kind of like a weird week. Just kind of had like this weird head cold thing I kind of got like Wednesday-ish. I don't know, it's kind of weird. It's like usually like when I'm sick, I might like if I'm sick, I know like 2023 I got sick a couple times, like in September and like December I was like just like kind of like down a week. I had like a fever and stuff, and generally I don't get sick a lot, especially started back here. I don't really get sick a lot in Washington, but once in a while like I might get like a cold or get sick or something. But yeah, it's kind of like what it was this week. It's kind of been weird. It's uh like my nose has been running. I've been sneezing. It's just like I've just had trouble sleeping. Like it's been keeping me up. I haven't really slept. I haven't slept that much the last like few nights. Like last night, I kind of was like the first night I kind of got some sleep. But it's been hard to like sleep. It's just like my nose just keeps running. I keep sneezing. It's just like I'm like it's weird. It's just like, but like I don't really like. I'm not like sick. I don't really like have like I'm not. It's not like I'm like cold or um, I don't have the chills or anything. It's just like I don't know, it's kind of annoying. It's kind of the word I would describe it. It's kind of annoying, but
I'd honestly rather be full on sick than have like the annoying things that you're describing, like stuffy nose, runny nose, stuff, itchy throat, and stuff. I honestly rather just feel like garbage to my core than have those like annoyances.
yeah, because usually, like I said, like if I get sick, usually I'm just kind of down and out. Like I'll be down and out for a few days or something. Like I'll get like a fever and stuff. So usually that's kind of what does it. But like it wasn't like because I was still like going to the gym and stuff, but I didn't really do like any. I didn't do no running this weekend. I didn't do no stretching or other workouts or anything. I just kind of went to the gym Monday through Friday, but it wasn't really. It's kind of like it just kind of felt like achy and just kind of like disoriented. It's kind of it's kind of just annoying. It's kind of like a setback kind of week. Because it's like I wanted to kind of get through stuff. I know we wanted to have a big theme tonight for Big 25 and uh, just other things too. Just I wanted to get done through the week. Like I was trying to get through like videos for work, and I only got like halfway done. I wanted to get like all the way done with it, but yeah, just like it's kind of weird. I don't know. It's been a weird week for a lot of reasons too. I don't remember what night it was, but like I think it was might have been like Wednesday or something. It was like I was at the Black Bear Diner or whatever. I was Ubering around, and there was a I swear I saw like the tallest person I've ever seen. Like this person was like 7'4", 7'5", just like this giant monster. It's like, who is this? How are you even here right now? What is going on? It's just crazy the things that I see in a day, and it's like how many times I see something like this. It's just like what? It's just like what do I need to know? It's just like what yeah, it's I don't know. It's been a weird. I don't know. It's been, and I like one thing too. I've been noticing too. It's just we'll touch on this quite a bit tonight too. Another thing I want to talk about too is like just what I've noticed in like the weather and stuff and changes and like how like the weather is now and what it was kind of last year and what I've been noticing and just patterns and trends and just like um I'm wondering too, and I'm thinking, is this like, are they spraying something? Is that why I'm, getting this head cold? Or they, it's just, it's not even like, I mean, if this was like the bird flu or whatever, like, or whatever, I don't know, other people are getting or whatever's going around, but it's like, I don't know if this is that or this is like something else or it's like more related to like the weather. Um, it's just like, it just kind of just in the timing too, like the timing of all of it. Uh, it'll be interesting to see. Like, I don't think I'll probably get and I don't think I'll be probably sick again, but hopefully not. I mean, usually, like I said, I don't get sick a lot, but just yeah, it's been a weird week. It's like I said, it's like it's not like I'm even like really like sick, like I'm down and out, but it's just like this weird, annoying thing. But then, I don't know. Like I said, what other people are getting. I know you said people at your work or were
Yeah.
sick and stuff, and
Well, the last like 2 weeks was a well, actually, like for the last month in days, not yeah, last month it was a one person after another, and yeah, it's just funny how it goes because you have mainstream news sources talking about how one of the worst flus is going around. I'm like, the worst what? The hell is a flu? You mean it's like you got COVID or nothing? There's no flu anymore, guys. What are we talking about? You can't just bring the flu back all of a sudden. It's gone. But so I thought that was funny that everybody all of a sudden, all the same people that were happy to put their muzzles on and probably go and got their 5 shots, and they're all of a sudden, oh, it's the flu again. It's just like the flu, huh? Weird. I forgot all about that thing.
yeah,
I wonder. Or I barely. It seems I faintly remember what that is, but you have to remind me. Maybe I'll get it. And I'll remember what that's like. But don't jinx me over here, because I get sick like once every sometimes most I would say on average like 2 years. I usually skip a year
yeah,
before I get sick again.
yeah. I don't really think
Although
I was sick at all last year in 2024. I think I wasn't sick at all. Like I know 2023, I was sick a couple times. 2022, I might have been sick like maybe at the beginning of the year. I might have not got sick 2022. I can't remember, but that's usually how it is for me. Like, and then like it's usually like it's always like winter. I mean, you're never sick in the summertime when it's nice and it's warm and stuff. It's always when it's colder and cooler outside is when you get sick with something, or when it's getting warm or getting cold or something, or changes
uh,
in the weather.
and speaking of, it is quite a drastic one we're having, and I think we'll get into this after the headlines. But yeah, I mean, there's lots to talk about with the weather. I have my theories and you mentioned spraying. It's like, oh yeah, I always say this, man. I keep forgetting to document more, but I mean, I don't know if it's like this for everybody. It's like I would assume it is, but holy crap, dude! The last like 5 days in particular, the last like nice few days that we've had, it's just from the very, I open at work or I'm up early, and my God, dude, it's just not a cloud in the sky. And then by, you know, 10 o'clock in the morning, it's just completely hazed over. And but I think, whatever. We'll get into it with my theories and stuff. And where we'll go with that. But I know I think it's our time for on a high note here, just to keep this bad boy rolling uh, with this whole NASCAR thing, where we just keep calling these races and having these narratives pinned a week before. But if you didn't watch our last episode or didn't make it long enough into the episode, you might have missed us um, come to the conclusion that Mr. Bell would be highly likely to three-peat and take home the Shriners Children's 500. And we did have a dark horse, if you will, literally and figuratively, with Bubba. Bubba, I don't know where he ended up. If he even like was there at all, but
He was
go
in
ahead.
the race for quite a bit till he DNF'd.
Oh, he did. Of course. Yeah, of course. Makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, my picks did well today. It was a very interesting day.
Oh, by the way, it was bugging me. It's been bugging me ever since I've like, the last 2 weeks with him winning the last 2 weeks. Like, I didn't know what Ream was all about. And I was like, I know I've seen that emblem before. They're water heaters. So it's just such a weird thing. You will see it like once in a blue moon, you'll see your water heater and it's probably a Ream water heater. But yeah, that's what they're all about. Anyway, just because I was like, yesterday or two, we got a new water heater, and our old one was being taken out, and it said it right there. I was like, oh, that's where I've seen that before. But of course, he also races for DeWalt, right? He races the DeWalt car.
Yeah, I think he had a different sponsor. I don't know. Did he have the Ream today? I don't
I
know.
think it was the DeWalt. Maybe. Let's see.
I think he's won in a different car every week so far. Different paint scheme at least.
It was like easy to look up. Holy shit! Figured it would be.
That's so crazy today how when the race ended today, I thought my phone told me Denny Hamlin won the race, and that's so weird because um, Christopher Bell won. But it was so weird because I was watching and I said Christopher Bell was leading with like 4 to go.
Oh, he's in the
And
sport clips car. Oh no,
yeah,
wait, no, that's Denny. No, that's Denny. No, he's racing the. I don't know. Yeah, it's not the Walt.
well, I think he started. And what's so weird too is I think Christopher Bell started 11th today too.
Yeah, it did say that he started 11th,
Yeah,
and then he had the 11 car Hamlin right neck and neck.
yeah.
And just interestingly enough, talk about these master numbers and the Shriners 500, and it's all quite interesting. We'll get into that, but let's see here. Man, I was really just hoping to see, how they get out of the car and they're all happy. Where the hell is that? Oh, sweet, Gavin. What is that? What was that? Why was Gavin Newsom just smiling on it? It looked like it was sport clips, and yeah, I'm pretty sure it is like a haircutting place. I mean, it looks like he got faded up right before the race. So
Yeah, the Bell's tolling right now like never before, 3 in a row.
yeah, it was super neck and neck. So I wonder if they actually initially called this thing for Hamlin.
Yeah, because it's so weird because I went back and I rewatched. because to see what that was about, because I've never seen like where I look at my phone, it says final, and then I look at it again and it's a different final. I mean, sometimes it like lags and glitches. That's why I said when I looked at it, it just said Bell was leading with 4 to go, and I like refreshed the page to see who won, and then it told me it was Hamlin. But what was weird was the announcer like said, "Oh, on the white flag, they like said there was like a caution, but there wasn't." But I heard him say, "Oh, caution" or something. But the race kept going, so there really wasn't a caution, but he said caution, which I thought was really weird. Um, and then yeah, they raced back and Bell, just beat him, but it was so weird how like because it was so weird because I thought I lost the bet, then I threw my stuff in the garbage 'cause I thought I lost, and then I checked my phone like 10 minutes later, and it told me Bell won the race. And I was leaving the gas station. I just checked like 10, 15, 20 minutes ago. I'm like,
Oh,
what the fuck? And then I have to get in my car and circle back, go grab my stuff, and go cash my ticket at the casino. It's like I've never seen that before.
okay. Yeah, I keep messing it up too. That's Hamlin's in the sport clips. What's Reese's? He's in the Reese's car.
Yeah,
Potato salad, boy. That boy is white as potato salad. I didn't. I don't really ever. I've never really watched the highlights, man. I didn't realize how much they bump each other. I didn't know that was such a like a thing in NASCAR. I guess.
yeah, it's a lot different than what it used to be.
I like how this clip's 2 minutes and 1 second. Hmm. Okay, well, let's look up this. Let me just for posterity. Let's see what racers. Let's see what's it called. Racers Fine Foods or something like that. It is Fine Foods. Wow. Damn. I wish I didn't really know that, but I got that 177, 84. Interesting. 78 like Jesuit. Wow, they actually have quite a lot of Jesuit numbers here. And the red
Yeah,
and black theme
yep,
too.
yep. Yeah,
Just
DeWalt. That was Matt Kenseth's old sponsor, the DeWalt.
I'm pretty sure Bell races DeWalt. I think I saw him win one of the last 3 races in the
Yeah,
DeWalt.
I think that was last week he won in DeWalt. Yeah,
So apart from just talking about the optics, one thing I will say that I was basing on last week, it wasn't I had a little hindsight as well, but as far as the foresight we were working with last week was just this whole idea that it was if you think about it, the Shriners, they are all master masons, and if you're talking about the York Rite, I believe they have 3 lodges or levels or whatever, um, degrees. They have 3 degrees, whereas the Scottish Rite has 33, and both play in this one because you get a three-peat on the Shriners 500 and from Chris Bell, and you get it from a guy whose name, which the name Chris equals 33, 78 as well. Point in noticing that. He races for Joe Gibbs, 33. Just Gibbs alone, because it'll be Gibbs Racing is what they'll call it, 33. Gibbs also equals 39, like the day's race is on 39, which is, I think, something we pointed out last week as
yep.
well. There were several things we pointed out about why it looked kind of hot for our boy to ring that bell once again.
And he won this race a year ago too.
Yeah, that was, I think, the final point we brought up, because it was the inaugural Shriners 500. What we were
Yep.
doing was we were looking to see if this race was the very first Shriners 500, But it turns out the first one was last year, and who won it? None other than Chris Bell.
He
And
goes
now
back to back in this race, and just like Byron went back to back in the 500.
and now put your money on. You know, he's not going to. NASCAR's not a sport where you can win out all the way to there. Obviously, he might have a very good season this year, and whatever, we'll see what happens. But next year, I'll put a bet on Chris Bell to win, to three-peat the Shriners 500, just to get all those
Oh yeah,
threes lined up. Uh, so tying into this race, with there's things we could talk about with the race. I didn't catch the highlights other than just now, and it did look like they were brought to caution. They were brought to something. They were made to line up. What is that? That's a caution, right? Where they all have to kind of like get back into a line and like take a pace speed before they're allowed to like go back to racing.
yeah,
And that was looked like they did that on the very last lap. From that highlight I was watching, they did that on exactly the last lap, which is just these things like these days. I mean, we're what, 4 races in, and something like this has happened every single race. Where it's just like, who cares about the last, you know, 140 laps when it's decided in the last 4 laps every race by either some crazy call or a caution or a crash. It's it's rather
yeah. It's
telling.
overly dramatic. They have to really build it up, and yeah, it's like I said, how all these races have played out so far. It's all been um, all these races have been close. I mean, you had the Byron winning the 500. How he was in like ninth on the last lap, and then um, the next race, you have uh, Bell just win, just on with a call of a caution. Oh, this is a caution here. Here we're gonna end it when he's in the lead, and the next race, it's a road course, and he just kind of holds him off, and then here it's this dramatic finish with him and Denny Hamlin when Denny Hamlin drives the 11. Christopher Bell started in the 11th position, so they really had this. And look who was on the pole for this one. It was Byron again. So Byron's literally been in position to win 4 in a row too. I
He
mean,
was also leading, I think, most of the race as well.
yeah, he won the first stage, and then
Mm-hmm.
Bell won the second one.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, everyone that I thought was going to do good today did good.
Oh, Willie Byron. I guess we can quickly take a look at where the standings ended up. Where did old Byron finish? Did he get? What's his name? Top 6th. Another trend that we've been noticing that it's hard to track specifically, but it's either been 2 Chevys and a Toyota or 2 Toyotas and a Chevy. Ford has not cracked the top 3, not a single time, and we'll see if that trend continues.
Yeah, it's been weird. I mean, it's kind of like the way it was last year. Was Chevy just won like every race to start? It was Chevy every week, and then when Toyota and Ford started winning, it was Toyota and Ford all the time, and Chevy wasn't winning at all. And it's just like how they mix it up. Like today, there was another controversial call where Joey Logano could have won the race, and he started in I think he started like second, but
He
he
started
won here.
second at the pole.
Yeah, and I think he won. Yeah, he won here last year when he won the championship, and like today, he had a chance to win too. He had like the best car, one of the best cars too, especially in the beginning. And then he gets, there's this call where they say, "Oh, it's a penalty. He's got to, do a pass through penalty and stuff." And uh, these like, petty rules and calls they'll make up too to kind of manipulate things and get the other cars that would win or have a chance to win, make sure they don't finish well or put them behind. And you know, just or just have like these people do well for this part of the race, and then it comes down, like you said, to like the last 4 laps, anyways. Then it's just like you just see what it is every week. You know, it's just like, you know, Bubba Wallace here, he DNFs. You know, he's got a chance, and oh nope, got a DNF, and
We were a little off on that, but in a way, it's kind of interesting too because you know he is like highlighted for not even damn finishing the race. So it's like, I mean, just look, you know, every week there's more people that finish the race than don't. So it is, you know, it's almost like maybe we should start calling people to not finish races and see if those will land. Maybe
there
there's a
was a
way to.
woman, racer today too in the
No.
race. I didn't even know that when I watched the highlights. I'm like, who's this? I've never heard of this person. I think they're from like Britain or something,
Oh,
or they have the
really?
Britain logo on their car. Yeah,
Oh, oh
and
my.
she
Oh,
crashed too late in the race too. It was weird.
she didn't finish.
Yeah, she like
She
DNF
never
too.
does.
Yeah, Ryan Blaney blew up too. Very weird.
Huh. I don't know names, so I just had to start clicking some. I
Yeah, I
don't
don't know
think
if
it was
I don't know if this is like
Keselowski.
her. I don't know if this was her first
Oh,
race or what.
yeah, the Leggy. I was like, that's a weird name. Catherine Leggy. Wow, she has the name of two queens in her name, Catherine and Anne. Of course,
I think
Catherine, the
she's
Queen
Britain or
Catherine,
something
is
too.
the one who saved the Jesuit order. Interestingly enough, yeah, she's British.
Yeah, she's got the flag on her car too. Her name. I noticed that.
That's so weird. Why have her racing at 44 years old? There's no younger women that want to race cars.
Right.
Isn't that just kind of weird? Why would she be the most capable? I mean, I'm not saying it's like you can't at that age. I'm just, you know, it's
Right.
just a
At least
little
have her be like 30. You know.
odd. 33 at least, but she
Yeah.
is 44. So we got keep just getting these master numbers in here. It's quite interesting. Hmm. This is worth looking into. Very interesting. Move over,
Yeah, I'm
Danica.
glad I look at the highlights and stuff because I miss all this stuff. I'm like, wow, I just learned all this information. It's like because like I said, how my phone told me there's that caution too, and then like if you go back and watch the announcer is like, oh, caution or whatever, and on this like there is no caution. Like why does he say that? And then like and then I thought, well, yeah, it's just I don't know, just so weird, like how that all played out.
Interesting enough, she races the 78 car, so
Yeah,
it's another story line with that, huh? Yeah, I'll have to look into that. I'll have to keep an eye on that. You got the woman and the black guy not not finishing. Hmm. I say that. I'm not trying to be rude by saying that either. I'm talking about this being a Shriners Hospital event. I'm talking about Masons who have, you know, the women and black people get their own version. They can't join the main group. So that in my head I was saying that right, and I was like, maybe I should clarify what I mean by this. I don't think that in that way. I just they have the Order of the Eastern Star and the Prince Hall Freemasons. Uh, so it's only right that the one woman and one black guy don't finish the race on the Masonic race.
yeah, and how Bell gets back to back and these last year and this year, and just like Byron goes back to back in the 500s too.
I believe the bell has iconography in masonry too. I feel like they do use bells in their tracing boards a lot of times. Let me just so I'm not bell. I they do ring a bell. They ring a bell in doing the Hiram Abiff murder thing. which is funny because that is all about 33. If you guys don't remember, which is super weird because you have Damar Hamlin doing that one ritual, and now you have Denny Hamlin taking second in this one. That's kind of weird. That what's funny
Yeah.
is my kid was coming walking by and he saw the D Hamlin. He's like Damar Hamlin races because he knows about that whole thing. But yeah, if you guys don't know about the whole Bills Hiram Abiff ritual they did right on the field, and nobody batted an eye, and they all thought, the only one standing was named Neil, number 33. And I mean, there's just so much you could say about that whole thing. But yeah, definitely weird. It's like you can have coincidences. I'm open to coincidences. It's just it is interesting that you had a D Hamlin in this race, and the bell is the bell iconography is to mark they ring a bell to mark midnight during the Hiram Abiff murder thing, which is it's this whole thing about the three ruffians. They ask him for um the secret the secret knowledge of the 33rd degree, and he doesn't give it to him, so they kill him. Anyway, I think he's even brought back to life by Solomon or something like that. Maybe not Solomon, but something happens there. It's interesting. But the ritual in and of itself, the actual behind closed doors ritual, it's just man, you're not even paying these dudes. These dudes are willing to do this just hanging out. They're just afterwards I'm sure they're just smoking a cigarette. Was it good for you? Because man, it's weird. They pull a titty out, they get poked in the back, they're just hanging out, bunch of dudes with some titties out, and it's just great. It's a great night. But yeah, they've symbolically done this whole ritual in certain events as well. And one of those events was a NFL broadcast, and they got away with it, no problem. Which is funny because it was the Bills game too, which is close to Bills. I don't know. When you talk about the vowels and what they used to be, and because we're talking about organizations that cling to old ways of the world, that they have secret knowledge and older knowledge, from Samaria, Babylon, all these things where language was a lot more condensed. In fact, every letter was an image. It wasn't just a sound. It was a picture, because I talk to my son all the time about this because he asks questions all the time about the English language, like what the hell, why is this way, why is it this way? It's just like, son, it's for texting, it's for computers, it's not for personal conversations. And that's why it's such an impersonal language. That's why everything can be misconstrued in English, whereas most languages, the romantic languages, uh, were derived from contact, face-to-face contact with people, because body language was the second part of the language. But body language has been completely taken out of English, and in lieu of everything has every single potential meaning has to be exploited from every single word. Every single word we have to, there's all the other languages, from what I've heard, are a lot more simple to understand, because you don't, all you really have to understand is the tense of somebody's, and that somebody's saying something in, and that tells you what they mean by it. Not like 8 more words that specify what they mean by it, if that makes sense. Anyway, got off on a tangent there. Sorry.
Yeah, we have the language too, doesn't make any sense, like the way our words are spelled, and to you write out the word farve, it's like it looks like Favry. It's if it sound if you do the your English right, it's Favry. It's not Farve, But then no, that's Farve. So well, it is whatever you
Change it
want it
up.
to be. And I mean, they're always making new words too. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
they always come up with new words. So.
And also that's kind of the point of it too, is that it is like modular in that way. English is that they
Yeah.
can just make up new words. I think they add how many new words like every year to the official source, the Merriam-Webster. It's just like,
Yeah.
how are you adding words? Who the hell thinks that they can add words? Who the hell thinks that they found something new? It's like, what are you talking about? Where's the new things? I'm not, where are they? Where are these new things we need new words for? They don't exist. They just want to like associate themselves with the new word. It's like as egotistical as thinking that you're like naming a star. You know how you can like go to pay those companies and they say, "Oh, this is your star. You named it. It's named after you now." It's just like, shut the hell up. You can't even prove that's a star, let alone like name it. Even if you could, who why does it? That star don't care about you.
That star will be chasing you down next. It'll be running after you.
You think you could just fucking name me? Huh? What do you think I am?
Start stalking you.
Mm-hmm.
Coming over the hill.
But this is something that I just honestly thought of right off the top because I believe I've seen them on tracing boards. I could be wrong. Maybe not. Or maybe there's just happen to go with the old architecture is sometimes they'll put nice bells on their stuff. Sure they have a purpose, but you do have something called a ritual bell. It's the same bell that they were talking about for the Hiram Abiff ritual. I wonder if to look into this deeper, if there was some sort of Hiram Abiff ritual and how they played this thing out. But yeah, just so
Yeah,
you
that's
know, you know.
interesting. Because I got a friend too, actually named Zach Bell, so it's funny
Hmm.
because he knows about the Freemasons and stuff too. He's in the military. He knows about the Freemason stuff too. So it's um, that Bell name, it's like Drake Bell, you know.
Mm-hmm. Well, he's done some shaming rituals in his career. I think he's still going through one. Uh, he got pretty much me too'd, and then it all they love to do that. And then just cast the person aside, and then they bring him back, and they're like, oh, he hasn't been able to speak because he's been in litigation, but in fact, they were all lies and this and this and that, and he's picking up the pieces of his career, and he's another Nickelodeon baby too. We just had that Trachtenberg chick die a couple weeks ago or last week, one of the whatever it is. Then who cares? Another
Yeah,
celebrity's gone. Oh no, how will we go on? But for anyone that doesn't know about the Shriners, they're a very interesting fraternal order of masonry because they take on this the iconography of uh, like the Far East. They got the scimitars and they wear the fezzes and they wear robes and they present themselves as genies. But more primarily, during their parades they present themselves as clowns, and that is quite interesting. It is quite interesting. I could go further into that, but I don't think that's what we're necessarily doing. But yeah, I think initial founding was the ancient Arabic order of the nobles of the mystic shrine. So like, bro, do you guys get more like government funding per letter of your name or something? Holy shit, just make it more succinct. But it almost looks like if you're dyslexic, it looks like anonymous. But AAONMS. Let's see what they got there. Was that what it was? Oops. AAONMS, yeah. I wonder what the whole damn thing spelled out in is. I don't generally do that, but there is one example where I did. And there's different ciphers that can that do better with like full sentences and stuff like that. But just for posterity, let's just check it out. Could be some prime numbers. I would have no idea what these big numbers. Yeah, pretty low. 49th prime. No idea. It could be something, maybe not.
Bale's towing.
Oops, just did that again. But yeah, certainly. Okay, so there's all the, I'm sure there's more to go into with the Shriners as well, and their influence on this race and what this is all about. One thing you could say is that it could be paying homage to them in the fact that they do parades and they go out there and they see if I can drive their little cars,
Yeah.
So, and there's several different types of cars they all drive, So it's it is a parallel. They'll do their little wacky scenes, but one interesting, certainly, Jimmy Carter's a Shriner. I don't know if we ever mentioned that when we were talking about him, but I did know that. Lots of Shriners when you look into it. But interestingly enough, earlier today, another plane crash. I mentioned it in the lead up. This one in Pennsylvania, right outside of Philadelphia. And to scrape and claw backwards into your memory that you've already expelled, I'm sure, and you can't possibly remember this plane crash from earlier this year. But yes, there was another plane crash earlier this year in Philadelphia, born and raised. But if anyone looked into that story, that Philadelphia plane crash, it was a medical airplane, and there was 4 passengers, being the number of death. There was a medical crew member, the pilot, and a mother and daughter that come to America for treatment. Could you ever guess what hospital they come to treatment for her child? The Shriners Children Hospital. So earlier this year, I think it was in January still, you had this plane crash in Philadelphia coming from the Shriners Children's Hospital, and they all died, and almost zero evidence that a plane ever crashed, but whatever.
Yeah.
And now you have the day of the race, the day of the Shriners Children's 500, and another plane crashes just outside of Philadelphia. This one crashed into a retirement facility. What retirement facility could that possibly be? The Brethren Village. Wow. I wonder what like Masons would consider themselves? Probably not Brethren. Nah, couldn't be. It's a coincidence. But I will provide a reach here because I did look up the entire name of this retirement community, and it does equal 500, which there might be more prevalent numbers there, but 500 is a weird number to encounter, and the fact that they're having their Shriners 500 today and a plane crashes in a community that adds up to 500, it's interesting. You could at least say it's interesting. I'm not putting all my chickens in that exact line of thinking. I would tend to think that it has more to do with the whole Joe Gibbs 33, Chris 33, that kind of thing. The whole storyline with Denny Hamlin in the 11 car and Bell starting at 11, and the fact that Bell won it last year, and the fact that they used the bell during the Hiram Abiff ritual, which is a key component to Masonic rites. And I think the Hiram Abiff ritual is always used as a promotion ritual. I believe. I could be wrong. I think I garnered that knowledge when I was looking up the Hiram Abiff ritual before. But I think they do it in order. I think the person who plays Hiram Abiff is usually getting promoted and or maybe more people in the presentation or whatever. But it's usually I think it's usually used as a. It's not just something to do. They do it because they're like promoting a member to a higher degree. So it is a key component to masonry for sure. And actually, does good old Hiram equal? Hiram Abiff. Oh, good old 55. 197 is not prime, is it? Oh, it is prime. It's 45th. Not sure about all that. But like I said, this plane crash, apparently everybody survived. Can't remember. I think they said 5 people were on board the plane. Yeah, 5 people on board. Let's see, Lancaster County. Scott Little.
Scott Little. It's like Chad Little.
But yeah, I mean, they do have some evidence. At least there's a plane on the ground and everything. So I'm not saying that this was necessarily faked, but you also have everybody surviving, and obviously, with everybody surviving, there's going to be a plane left because otherwise, if there wasn't, they wouldn't be surviving. More than anything, you don't need the plane to be disappeared. You don't need everything to disintegrate to fill a message and to complete a ritual and to subconsciously um, dig into people's minds about the safety of air travel, and a la Hindenburg and things of that nature, how Zeppelins are no longer considered a valid form of air travel. And maybe it is just how it works. You go down enough conspiracy channels, not channels, not video channels, but like water channels, if you will, and you generally always reach the same like frame of mind as probably most people that go down those channels. It's just like, man, where are Zeppelins at? I would much prefer to have Zeppelins, but who knows what that would look like. I mean, Zeppelins in the modern era, it would be just as controlled as airplanes, and probably just as crazy. But you look at the heyday of Zeppelins, and I was like, man, I wish I was alive back then. That would have been sick to be riding around in Zeppelins.
Yeah, like you said, these plane crashes and the 500. And think about it too. It's in, like I said, it's Arizona. And this is also the last race of the season too. So this plays into that, and so there's a pretty big like there's so much they did with this race too. Like I said, like I said, you got the controversial calls. There's a woman in there. I mean, uh, it's really it was this her first race? I've never even heard of her before.
I would assume so because it said that it was the first woman even in NASCAR since 2018, which I'm assuming was Danica Patrick, but I don't know. It could have been someone else. I lost track of her. It was Catherine. Yeah, since 2018. So I would assume it's her first race in NASCAR, unless she also raced back in 2018, which I doubt. Catherine Legg spins out twice in first. It's like celebrating her. Look at her signing for autographs. Spins out, doesn't finish. Can't handle it.
She got past the halfway point. She got towards the end and then just couldn't take her no more. Couldn't hold on.
Just only 100 laps shy. That's pretty good. It's like it's
Yeah,
so backhanded how they say it. She got almost just 100 left, and she would have finished. She did very, very good. It's like, uh, meanwhile, you're like judgmental of Denny Hamlin. It's like, how dare he lose this race? It's like a split time of like 0.08. She's like, this guy's really got to get his shit together. You know, he's racing for a prestigious team, and you know, this is trash. It's unacceptable, really, because you know it was an obvious maneuver that Bell was going to make. He could have easily avoided it, and then they're like, so how about that Catherine Legg? Oh, I mean, absolutely phenomenal, guys. Absolutely beautiful in not just her, but the way she raced today. And you know, like we said, just 100 laps left, and she would have been right there at the end. So this is huge. This is big. And of course, we got Bubba down there spinning out with her. They're both dancing
yeah.
down there. So I don't know what was really going on, but it was beautiful, and we love it, and we welcome it. That's the big deal. Is we welcome it to our sport. More, please.
Yeah, it's
Interesting.
like Shauna I remember the last like decent woman was like Shauna Robinson out of Des Moines, Iowa. But
She raced in NASCAR.
yeah, Shauna Robinson. Yeah,
She shouted. Oh God, what a handsome woman. Kids
Me?
race against drugs. Why did they get the? It's basically the dare motto on her outfit. It's just like, damn, might as well put her in like a Swiffer sponsorship or like
Yeah,
a Hoover vacuum sponsorship.
yeah.
Hmm.
The Big Band.
Capital of Iowa, Des Moines.
Yeah, Big Shauna. Those are the days.
Do you know when she raced?
That was like 2002 ish, like
Uh,
2002.
oh, okay, quite a while ago. It looks a lot older. Hmm. She's the 16th woman. What is it with 16? No, I won't go off on a tangent here because I can't remember, but if it comes to me, I'll let it come to me. Jennifer Joe Cobb.
Oh yeah, Jennifer Jo Cab. Remember her?
She's probably from Nebraska.
They got to get this. Should get a Nebraska sponsorship on there.
Kansas City, close enough. You know, Jenny Joe. And that'd be interesting to go into the archives and see what the announcers were saying during these races. Like see what they were like, you know, forced to mention and how if they were nice about it or not. And if they were just like because it's backhanded. That's my point behind it is I guarantee you they were, and I get you know it's not right. It's the she shouldn't want to get pity, and at the same time, it's like it's like degrading. She did
Yeah,
so well. It's like I'm saying everything except for but for a woman. It's like she did so well for a person. She did really good for people today. For every person, she did so good. Not just women. No, 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 no. I don't mean that. No, she did great for humankind. She almost 100 more laps. Like I said, 100 more laps, and she would have been right there.
And the big thing too, she's got to be British too. It's not just a woman; it's a British woman too.
Insufferable, I bet. Oh, stop it! Stop that! I'm more than just my gender.
I'm Jennifer Jo Cobb. This is my crew chief, Jim Bob.
Probably all female. That's probably why she spun out. She has an all female crew.
Yeah.
Tires are on backwards. No lug nuts on some of them. You just like zooms in on them. It's just like, oh, and they're like breaking nails and like, stop. Just go, just go.
Yeah, our crew chief and her spotters just
Meanwhile,
they're
her
just fingering
tires
their they're just fingering their twat in their crew box. And up in
her
the
tires are like flying into the pit area. Their team can't hold on to them. Meanwhile, Joey Logano like is accidentally on a line that he might not have even been on. It's just like, get your ass in the box right now,
yeah.
you piece of garbage. You're breaking the sanctity of our game of our sport, you idiot. Get
Yeah, hey,
over
didn't you win
there.
here last time? You can't win here today.
Yeah.
You won the
Let
championship last year. This ain't a championship race. You gotta get back there. Get back there. Serve your penalty.
She really has no leg to stand on. That's the thing. That's the other funny thing is that she.
It's like you're stepping over the line there, Logano. You're stepping over the line.
She's missing that I guess in her name she has the third leg, so maybe that's what makes her want to do boy sport. I'm just kidding.
And they gotta put her in the
Just being
78.
controversial.
They gotta put her in the 78.
I got the Jesuit connection, but where was she?
Trumpy
She was.
78.
Yep. Born in 80. I swear it said where she was from. Oh, here we go. Guildford, United Kingdom. Guildford? You're from Guildford? Oh,
Guilford.
I know a few chaps from there. Oh, of course. Oh, of course. Oh, we used to
Give
go
her
down
this
to
cup
Guildford
call for
down
me
from
today.
we used to go to Guildford down from the Lancashire to the whatever the fuck they call it. Cobblebrook Lane. Oh yes, of course. I already forgot what the hell she was from. Guildford, United Kingdom. Guildford? She's not racing a Ford.
Yeah.
The 118. I don't know if that unless she's gonna die. She died next race. I'm
Yeah.
not laughing. I'm not laughing.
Yeah, it's like just don't be 44 years old now and get in that car.
44 from
You
Guildford,
saw Mike
United
Har-
Kingdom.
you saw Mike Harmon last week. You saw what happened to him. It's like you don't want to see that again.
Well, interesting to keep tabs on this. And also, why would she start 4 races in?
Yeah.
Like who lost their position to her? Who does she race for? Oh, come on. It's teams. Is this the team that I'm assuming? Dale Coyne?
Coin.
Dale Coyne. Well, she didn't really finish, so well, if she ends up in more of the headlines, we'll look into it. But it is funny to talk about, and I do think that there is definitely something to the idea that she joins for this race, and both her and the African American racer don't finish this race in the Shriners 500.
Yeah.
So you can only imagine how many. I mean, people don't like being absolutists with certain things. You can't convince a lot of people that you know plays in sports can be rigged, because it would take every single person and every single fan in the stadium all being Masons and all saluting Hitler at the same time in order for a pass to be scripted, apparently. But um yeah, I would assume that a lot of NASCAR drivers are Masons and initiates and stuff like that. I mean, they race for known, like Garen. I don't know about known Masons, but you'd assume these connected, teams that have, how many racers underneath of them. It really is a strange sport. It's almost as it's like one owner in like the NBA owning like four teams. It's just like that's just a conflict of interest, like waiting to happen. Like anyway, it's
Like that's why like Denny Hamlin's in the 11. It's like that's the master number. It's like Denny Hamlin, like he's like a master mason. That 11 car gotta be part of all these rituals.
well, and then there's the three hooligans, the three ruffians, and you get the three-peat by bell, which the ceremonial Masonic bell is to, you know, enact the whole murder scene of Hiram Abiff, the Master Mason. So I think there's more to it, and I think if you knew the like exact ins and outs, that these people love like putting on plays and making a mockery and a play of the with the numbers and with the esoteric knowledge. So I'm sure that there's more, and I'm sure we're just probably just poking and prodding at like it's more than likely easy pickings for us, maybe not for everybody. You give people the limited information we have right now, and then just be like, right, okay, thanks guys. But it's like, no, this, a plane just crashed that on the shrine in the day of the Shriners race. Remember the last plane that crashed that was coming from Shriners Hospital? Coincidence? Just coincidence. Oh, really? It crashed into the Brethren Village? It's a coincidence. It's just a coincidence, guys. Equals 500, and they had their Shriners 500 today. It doesn't matter. Just these things happen.
Yeah, it's
So
just like how I said, like the Kurt Cobain's birthday, 220. It's Kurt Cobain's birthday, 220, and the 20 car wins. The 20 car wins again. The 20 car wins again. Well, it's essentially two because 20, that's 60, and then uh, he's won three times now. It's like that was our video too. We did a 0 day, and you know that video got flagged ever too. For whatever reason, it's just like um, the emphasis they're putting on us. Like literally everything we say is going to happen in the race. The way the race is going to go, who's going to win, who's going to do well. Like we're literally uh, calling it to an absolute T every single week. Um, and literally just putting it together just in real time. It's amazing. Like that. It's like I said, I'm glad that I actually looked at the highlights for this race uh, today because I learned all this stuff. It's just like they really are just. Uh, it's like they're not even talking to us anymore. It's like they're yelling at you. They're slapping you. It's amazing.
and yeah, I mean, it's hard to put a exact pinpoint on the numbers because I'm just getting started. So it's like I'm gonna I'm gonna have number associations come to me as we continue this. It's a lot different from the NBA where I have more of a wealth of knowledge that's just subconscious knowledge about numbers, different numbers they've had, their birthdays, things of that nature, their highest point scoring totals and stuff. I don't know anything like that for NASCAR. I'm sure that there's so much to peel back from a lot of these things, but and especially with gematria, it's just I don't. I'm getting attuned to these racing teams, and obviously, just like you pay homage to the coach and the owner, that's, I guarantee you these rituals are being, they might be being acted out by the young men racing the cars and leg, young men and plus one.
Yeah.
Um, but at the end of the day, I think these rituals are being performed for their owners and, the oligarchs watching their programming. I mean, I'm pretty sure one of the races was straight up for the Pope. I mean, I'm not doubting they all have been, but I mean, just like super connected to him. It was that the week of the announcement of his pneumonia or whatever he had. Maybe we
Oh
should
yeah.
check in on our boy just real quick. Last I saw, he was doing better.
Yeah, it said he was doing better as of 3/8. It said.
Oh, you made, he's like, oh, I made it. Oh, thank God. That's,
Yeah,
woo.
the numbers didn't get me this time.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy how they use words. Conclave was like a movie about the Pope, so it's just weird. I guess he's still in pretty bad or decently bad shape, but potentially getting better. Well, it's just hope you get better so we can all like smooch your body. Everybody loves
Yeah.
smooching your body. Your feet, your hands, everything, your head, your lips, your tongue. Just it's really just so beautiful witnessing it. So we hope you get back out there so more people can put their lips on your body. It's really inspirational for everybody involved.
Yeah, we
Not
love our
gross.
big
Not
trophies. We
gross at
need them.
all. Yeah, it's definitely not gross. If you think it's
Yeah.
gross, then you're gross. How about that? Another interesting thing is too. It's just like there's really been just full theater mode. It's just every single day. When was the last time
Oh,
there was a president that every single day, everything they do has to be talked about and shown? And I think I showed a clip last week where you had the press secretary, which, yeah, she's the press secretary. So maybe that job is entitled you to be near the president. But like he was going out to do the whole colostomy bag. I think he's had a colostomy bag. I'm being honest. It looked like he had something weird going on. But you have the press secretary like hiding and like filming him. I'm like, what is going? Is she like his handler or something? What is she doing that for? Is she posting it on Twitter? What is going on? Why are you doing that? He's just walking out. He didn't say anything to you. He didn't do like a hey, kawaii. He didn't do that. He just walked out. Why are you filming him like that? Is it so iconic him walking out? Is it to make sure that he's walking normal because he's got a colostomy bag? And it's just like maybe they can show it to some people who are like, is this weird? Does this look like he has a colostomy bag? It does, doesn't it? Oh, we should do a better job next time. I don't know. It was just so strange. It's like she peeked out. She was like, oh, and like hid, but like kept filming, and she's obviously right there. Just like, what is going on? What? And at the White House is all just a big fake set. Everybody knows that. It's like I don't know
right.
anybody who doesn't know that. That it's like I would hazard a guess that they don't even live inside of the White House. That like the building on top of the ground, I don't think people like live in there. Not the people that are supposed to live in there. I think that there's potentially people that uphold the idea of it being a livable space, but who knows, dude? We need to never mind the Capitol building. We need to march on the White House. We need to go see what the hell's going on in there one of these days. Because I don't think it would be what we assume.
Yeah. One hell of a trip as soon as you open the door, that's for sure.
But so yeah, before we to get into our next topic, I do want to like quickly check ahead. I think it was like, was it the Pennzoil or something like that next week? Penske
Yeah, it's
or
Las Vegas. Yeah.
Pennzoil. Yeah, the Pennzoil 400. La Vegas. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Usually say who won it last year.
Yeah, I can't remember who won
Bell
last
brings
year.
up first cup. Uh, Kyle Larson.
Larson.
That's grand larceny.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really have an idea next week. Wouldn't that be something if Bell won 4 in a row? That'd be crazy.
Let's see.
Could be Ford could finally win though too.
They get a. They got Pennzoil equals 33. Interestingly enough.
Yeah.
Just keep it going.
Yeah, if Bell wins again, I'm gonna die. I mean, I think it could be a. Well, Byron's got that win for Chevy, but could be another Byron win or something. Could be a Ford win. Vegas, I mean, it's got the gambling aspect right in it. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't not have some sort of controversy. I would assume there'll be some sort of excitement playing into it.
Kyle Busch is from Vegas too. He might could be a hometown win.
That'd be such a story.
The Big Eight.
Hmm. I mean, it just makes you wonder. It's just because Bush is such a big sponsorship of NASCAR. It's like, is it known? Is he like related to the actual beer brewers? Because I think the
Right.
Bush family, like Anheuser Busch, like that's an old ass family. Like that's like original. Those are like glass bottle. I guess they still are glass bottles, but I mean they were like the first glass bottles were made for like beer like that. So it's weird. Or in America, I mean.
Yeah, just like how Kurt and Kyle are both out of Vegas too. It's like you don't get too many people out of Vegas.
That's a good point. Birthday's a day after the Illuminati. Anniversary, that is.
It's interesting too because Bell's picked up his 10th, his 11th, and 12th win 3 weeks in a row. So next one is 13. And Byron too. He's been like I said, he's really had a shot to win every single race so far too. So it's look for those Bell and Byron to be in the mix to for the championship at the end of the season.
L. Byron Bush.
Bunch of Bush babies.
Let's see. Let's see the standings. Bubba Wallace in 12th. That's not that bad.
He's doing pretty good.
He's doing pretty good for a what? What were we gonna say? Sure.
He was running like top like 15, top 20 today all day until whatever happened to him. But could have picked up a
Blaney.
top 10. Blaney blows up. And Blaney's had like literally Blaney's never won Phoenix, but he's had like an average finisher like second. So it was like today his day, then he blows up. I mean, you don't see that all the time.
Interesting. I need Shane Van Gisbergen to step it up.
He needs his road courses. It's like he just dominates Vegas.
I don't. I'll try to do some digging throughout the week. Who knows? It might be lined up with something yet to happen.
Yeah, don't be surprised if the Pennzoil car wins it.
Who races the Pennzoil card?
Uh, I think that's Logano.
Oh yeah, I think it is too.
Yeah. He wasn't in the Pennzoil today. He was in a different. He was in the green car.
Yep.
That's why you're like, yep, we're gonna DQ you. You're in the green car. You're not the Pennzoil car.
Green is not the color today. Sorry. Huh?
Yeah.
It's potato salads day. Okay, take a step back. Let research shine for once.
Yeah. It's like Reese's. Reese's cups.
It pissed me off when people
Christopher
call
cups.
them Reese's cups. It's just stop it. Get my Reese's cups.
One of my Christopher cups.
Wash my Reese's off my hands. Interesting. All right, well, we'll see. Last year it was the race before the Shriners Children 500. Interestingly enough.
Yeah, maybe Logano gets the breakthrough with Ford, or if someone else is driving the Pennzoil car, they'll get the
Hamlin
breakthrough or something.
finished 11th last year.
Huh.
Yeah, there might be a breakthrough with the Pennzoil 400. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, we've called it every week so far. I mean, every week what we've been saying. I mean, look at how like I said, I picked like Briscoe and Austin Cindric in the 500, and Austin Cindric's leading with leads the most laps. Was leading the last lap, half a lap to go. So, and Briscoe was in it. So, everyone we've been picking and saying has pretty much been in it. I mean, hell, Byron's almost won every week. So yeah, it's just it's like they're kind of mixing it up right now, like letting different people. Like I think we're going to see a lot of different winners. There might be, like I said, where there's so many winners that maybe somebody that has won't even make the playoffs or something. It could be that kind of way this year.
I did want to point one more thing out, just the idea that the Toyota car won it. And you might think it's maybe arbitrary, but obviously the Toyota symbol gets it from Saturn, the Saturn's rings, and Saturn does equal 93, like 9/3 could be the date could be written. So that might have been a clue for a Toyota car winning today.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot for this race.
Joey. Some fun numbers. I always. What day of the year is the 16th?
That's funny too, because it'll be 316, like Austin 316.
75th day of the year, like chaos or order chaos, which okay, so I just said. Which is interesting because he does race the 22 car. You got the 222. Got that 78 in there too. It's another 78, which showed up this race. Maybe some of that order out of chaos was the leggy car, number 78, spinning around. Like, what's she doing? We don't know what she's doing down there, but man, she's doing a great job. She's really just doing
Imagine
what
if she
she
wins
can do.
this year. She gets a win, that'd be crazy.
When she wins next week, I'm not going to do anymore next week.
Yeah, we're
I
done.
will retire, and that'll be that. I mean, what if they did do just a slap in the face like that? You know, because who could call it a slap in the face without being labeled? What do you mean? Why can't she win? You know, it's like you would
Right.
instantly have these people defending it without realizing how improbable and staged it is. They'd just be like, "No, this is proof that we can do it. This is proof." She, everyone before her, walked so she could run. All right, they all crashed so she could win.
She's
They all
44. Come on, it's her time. It's her time.
very
She's
well
waited
could be.
44 years for this moment, damn it.
Is there a race on 4-4?
There's one on 4-5.
Hmm. What was the birthday? Maybe it should be 45 by then. Well, I would love to. I'll crunch some numbers and do some birth dates and stuff like that throughout the week when I have time, because I am interested in that. And we'll see what we can. Let's see what we can figure out with that. Joey Logano, that is an interesting call. Having the Pennzoil driver win it. I wonder if he'll race the Pennzoil. Is that like a? I wonder if that's like a contractual thing. You would think it would be. Like
Yeah.
if you have Pennzoil on your team or under your team umbrella, it'd be kind of weird to just not race the Pennzoil car during their titular race or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, maybe his teammate Blaney will have Penzos. Someone, whoever has it, will probably win the race. Or, like I said, otherwise it'll probably be. I mean, I won't be surprised to see Logano win or something, just to see Ford get
Yeah,
that
but
win. So,
also he's been in. I feel he had that little weird thing going on today, but like I feel like I've seen a couple of headlines with talking about Logano and him having prime position to win and doing relatively poorly, not even finishing well in the grand scheme.
yeah, like
Multiple
today,
races
could have won
before.
today. Had one of the best cars and just gets screwed over.
Well, can't you know can't go against the Bell, Taco Bell.
It's like that's going to be a sponsor. He's going to win. It's like, oh my god, that was it. Now
That's
the bell's
it.
really going.
He's just in the chalupa car and just like no one bats an eye. It's like, oh, what do you mean? His name's Chris, all right? It's not. It's a coincidence his last name is Bell, all right?
Christopher Columbus.
1542. Sailed the ocean blue. Hanging out with Jews. All right. So I know you wanted to touch on the weather and how
Um,
strange it's been, and or
Oh yeah, the weather's been just really it's not just like the weather, but like the almost like the seasons too. The weather and the seasons, but because last year I noticed like there was such huge like uh I've never seen like fall come so early. Like I remember like the leaves were like changing colors in like June and July, and usually you never see that till August at least. Um, and like this year, like I'm seeing like trees. I mean, we had like the coldest, and it was like snowy and cold. It's like the middle of February there, and like the end of February, it's like it's summer and spring, and it's like the trees and the leaves are budding, um, and that's like all I'm seeing. It's like something like it's like, and you never see it this early. It's never been this early. I mean, usually the earliest you'll ever get is like the very end of March, early April. Even mid April is usually when you get it. It's like so everything is like a month to 2 months like ahead of its time. It's just crazy. It's like the way they've shifted the seasons around and how manipulated it is and too and all the stuff they're spraying and just like I mean they've been spraying so heavy lately too. It's just like just the fact that if we don't you know we have to stop the spraying, but then there's um you see these weather changes, these weather patterns, and these seasons changing and everything. So it's like um it's almost like they're making a almost like a pole shift type thing happen. It's what they're doing. It's crazy the way they're manipulating the weather too, and it's just like how when they've been spraying too, you just see um, how they just cover the sky like so heavy and thick, and then you really can like it's just like you can just see and just sense like what they're spraying. I mean, we know it's there's barium, strontium, aluminum, and uh, there's tons of poisons and everything they're killing us with, and obviously they're playing the weather with it and doing other things as well. Um, but I mean, you can just like see the toxic sky and like air and just like the amount of poison and what they're pushing into the world um and just like the weather like in general too is just like it's been so weird lately. Like the last like couple weeks, it's been like we've just shot straight into spring or like summer. It's been weird. It's been like 60 degrees. It's been like either like kind of sunny but like hazy, but just like a lot of like spraying and uh, just a lot of different looks they're giving to the sky. It's like it's not really like you don't if it like rains it's like you just get these sprinkles. Like we've barely had a rainy winter this year. We don't even get rainy winters anymore. You don't even get the normal what you would expect to get out of Washington. You just get these um it's just weird. It's like winter just it's like I said, even like the last few years we haven't got any snow. This year we've kind of got a little bit, but
Mhm.
it's like in that month when it's the coldest, it's also going to like turn to spring, summer. Then you're going to this like early push this year. It's really weird. Um, yeah, I've just it's just something I've noticed, and it's something that um, it just seems like it's becoming just more rampant here. Like I said, really noticed it last year. Really noticing it this year. The seasons are completely out of whack. The weather's out of whack, and they're just really mixing things up in a weird way for us. It's just like and we just had the spring ahead too. We just had the spring ahead, so we're on the spring um, time, and it's everything so it's lighter at night too. So yeah, maybe we'll see an early spring. Maybe it'll be 70, 75 by April. I mean, at this rate, who knows? It kind of seems like what they're doing.
Yeah, and I have my theories too with a lot of these because I brought up this stupid article, which is glorifying contrails. Because for anybody who didn't know, uh, one of the initial like excuses, if you will, or reasons they gave for what they don't call it spraying. They didn't like admit to it being like spraying, but they did admit that it was, pollution from the aircraft and so on and so forth. But they said that, it had actual benefits, that it was blocking and absorbing harmful UV rays that were cancer causing. And they do this with a lot of things, our America is addicted to sunscreen and things of that
Yeah.
nature. But and they love to thank sunscreen for preventing millions and millions of cases of cancer. It's just like, what? Cancer was just an epidemic our whole lives until Banana Boat. It's like, okay, sure. Anyway, but yeah, I pull up this article and I only read like the first little part of it. It's like glorifying the chemtrails. But to your point, I mean, like I said, I need to do a better job documenting these types of stuff, but it has been insanely rampant the last few days, and more than just a few days. But it seems whenever that the weather tends to, take a turn for a clear day and maybe a little bit of warmth, they get out there and they just up there playing tic-tac-toe, and before you know it, you got that, like you said, that chemical, that gray haze just as far as the eyes can see. And you know, I have my theories. You're talking about the weather shift, and first of all, more and more as I've gotten older, we've had later winters, and we've had in between parts like this before that's been nice and warm, and oh, spring's here, and then April comes and we're getting snow.
Yeah.
So, with GMO crops that are all bioengineered to grow to grow without seeds, and you know chickens growing without heads, just big old titties and thighs, and that's all they are basically. Um, that's just the new trend of things. It's just like food's not really food anymore. But to the local farmer, to the person growing their own, it's extremely important that your seasons show up and do what they're supposed to do. So when you're not able to go off of a seasonal clock because they keep screwing with it, it throws off anybody who plants early to get a jump on their heirloom or whatever plants that need to be planted, at the end of winter to start growing, to yield in the end of spring or whatever. They're screwed if we get another frost. The frost could come through and just kill their crops before they even have a chance to grow. So I think a lot of it has to do with just this unpredictable nature, and who knows the effect it has on animals as well, because everything's pretty much attuned to a seasonal clock. But you look at the average human, honestly, we're not anymore. We rely, we get all our information for about the seasons through our phone, and during the summer we just want to be inside with an AC unit. And it's like, what happened? I used to be forced to sweat it out. Well, on the searing hot summers we have had, because Oregon had actually had, I think their record temperatures, it was pretty crazy. It's like 110 or more, or something like that. Um, you just gotta just suck it up. It's like there's no point. The fan's not doing anything. Like a fan in the
Right.
window is literally just, if anything, it's almost worse. But I would still be outside, and it's just, I don't know. Maybe I'll get cancer, and I'll be a poster child for Banana Boat, and and what happens if you don't use it. But yeah, I do think that these chemtrails, they can easily say that they're doing something helpful for humanity, or preventing something, when in an obvious reality, I urge anybody to look up Operation Gomorrah, because like you mentioned those chemicals, you mentioned barium, strontium, aluminum, especially aluminum silicates. And that is what they are. They're aluminum silicates. And it's just like, and they'll say these things never really trickle down, that they dissipate before they ever get to us. They're full of crap. These things do not dissipate. They attract and they get bigger. The things that they're spraying are attractors. They actually, so with chemistry, there, with certain metals, you're going to have ones that attract and ones that repel, depending on what is in the atmosphere around them, what else is in the room, if you will. And so aluminum is one of those ones that's just like gimme, gimme, gimme. It wants to attach to almost anything, and it can attach to almost anything. And that's like think about Old Spice, that whole thing that they had with their, that people found out that they had aluminum silicates in there, and they said, oh, it's a moisture wicking thing, but people were getting cancer because their bodies were getting clogged up and their sweat pores were getting clogged up because the aluminum silicate gets in there and it just buries in there, and it causes huge in an atomic level, which, when your blood vessel is a 0.001 of a centimeter, having something in there that's 0.001 of a centimeter is a big deal. And you have these, small things going in there, clogging it up, and then sitting there and, still demanding more to balance their ions or whatever. I'm not being as super scientific as I could be. I understand how it works. I'm just not probably saying all the right words, but um, it's the same thing in the air. It, because our air is not just like nothing. It's not just like, oh, it's just nothing going on up there. There's water vapor, there's carbon monoxide, dioxide, there's, all sorts of different chemicals in the air. And initially, when they spray the aluminum silicates, I'm sure they stay up there for quite some time until they attract different chemicals, work their way down, and, settle on in our breathing level. And then we're breathing aluminum silicates with God knows what else, what other, debris and like hazardous, never mind what they're spraying. That's just the ozone of our, smog and in the cities and everything like that. It'll attract all those things and work its way down to our level for us to breathe. And we humans do have pretty sophisticated, like the endocrine system and their lymph systems. They're pretty sophisticated, but it doesn't take much for those things to be compromised. And then it's also, think about like animals without super sophisticated systems. Like think of like chickens and especially barn type animals that are raised for, sustenance and sustaining life for, families and communities. They suffer the most in these instances as well. And not to mention the changing of the seasons that are throwing off the animals, like not knowing when to mate. Maybe it's throwing their bodies off to where they're not even like, fertile at the right times. So they might be missing windows that they're not, I don't have all the numbers on all that stuff. I just have my theory about it, because I know for one thing that it does throw off the common gardener and, farmer.
Yeah, and I think a big thing too with what they're doing, it's like it's time perception too, because
Mm.
with them, bringing in the year quicker and ended it sooner. It's like last year, like I said, the leaves were changing colors and June, July. It's like this year they're going to be changing colors in like April, May at this rate. It's like, um, they're bringing the year in quicker. They're ending it quicker. Um, so I mean, if it feels like time is going by faster, yeah, it's because they actually are speeding up the time. They are speeding up the seasons, and like I said too, I think this is a big thing too. Why I got this like whatever kind of head cold whatever this week too, and I don't know if this is what's going around or what if this is just something else, but I believe this is from what they're doing and how they're um, just disrupting the weather so much, and uh, just the way like the day is just playing out. I mean, it's just like how like I was telling you before, like you can't even look at like the weather anymore because it doesn't even do what it says it's gonna do. I mean, it's
Hmm.
like before you could like look at the weather and like look what what was gonna happen, but now you can't even do it, and you just have to look at what they're doing in the sky. I mean, you just see the spraying, how bad it is, and just like uh watching them bring in these fronts, move this stuff around, and um I mean, I remember too, like when I moved out, out here, like back in like 2017, there was like I remember it was like Christmas, and it was like super warm. It was like 70 degrees, and it was like December. It was like Christmas. It was like 70 degrees. I'm just walking around like a cut off in shorts and stuff. Like um, how they can just just come, and that's pretty rare around here to get that around that time. But like lately, it's been like I said, like in the 60s, or up to 60, or in the 50s. Um, it hasn't been much rain. It's like I said, it's been kind of sunny to clear for the most part, but it's mainly just been the spraying and just the amount of just kind of damage they're doing. And um, like I said, it's something where if if you don't if you don't stop it, nothing really matters, because I mean you can't even grow food and crops, and like I said, they can use it to get you sick, and um, ruin your health, and then then it's like, oh, and then they're gonna attack your food supply, your water, and just like how you said, that people think that this that stuff up there doesn't matter. I mean, it's obviously a huge part to why everything in the world is so messed up and as bad as it is.
Yeah, and ecosystems are. I know, and I'm in Washington now, but I know Washington um, had one of the bigger problems with it being one of the largest producers of produce and from in the West Coast. Um, they were having issues with that invasive red algae that was gumming up whole irrigation systems, which leads to and to question all sorts of different things about how we collect water and you know environmentally conscious ways of doing things. Because what's very interesting about all these things is I don't think it's rare to have a spring underneath your feet. I think it's pretty much almost everywhere can be tapped for some sort of water. Whether or not that water's how good the water is, that's maybe debatable. But the whole idea of like changing the world, like the landscape around you and uprooting, ecosystems to make a lake or dam up a river in order to have your irrigation needs met. I think that, it's a kind of like a catch 22. You have this unnatural thing happening, and then, or you bring this unnatural thing into nature. And in turn, it's like, oh, well, we got this unnatural algae forming now, and it's just like we can support the algae supporting us. Like nature's not dying because of it. And but I do think it affects things. People love talking about bees and such and things of that nature, but it really is everything. Um, spawning of certain animals happens not on what day it is. It has to do with the temperature, the ambient temperature, like down to even to people might just see everything as pests, flies, and mosquitoes and certain things, but they're food to other creatures that need them to live, that do help in certain areas. And you have them all spawned, and in March, and we go back down to freezing in April. Well, it's just like, that's a huge ecosystem like shift, basically telling nature to wake up, only to, have them be like, ah, crap, we shouldn't have woke up because we haven't done our, we're not usually spawning again and for another 2 months, but now it's freezing again, so we don't have time to spawn. So we all just gonna go die, and then your ecosystem's missing a component of it. We see things as like bad and weird, but really what it all is it has a place and a meaning, whether you realize it or not.
Yeah, exactly. What they're doing to nature is what they're doing to people. I mean, they're just stunting the nature's growth, destroying it. Messing with the timetable, everything, natural timetables, um, and like I said, I mean, everything is so multifaceted with it too, because it's not just the people and what's in our water and what all that stuff, and but then like I said, it's um, with the weather control and stuff too. I mean, depending on whether we get a early spring, or if we do kind of go back to kind of wintry type weather in like April, and who knows, maybe even May or something. It's just going to be ridiculous. But um, yeah, I mean, that will destroy the leaves on the trees and the cycle of things. I mean, and there's already such a huge disappearance, with nature and animals and stuff, and so many things dying off, and so many things that just they don't have habitats no more, anything. And it's like I said, you just see it with people. I mean, this is why you're so messed up too. And people think, oh well, I eat the best foods and I drink the best water and everything, but the point is they're still getting you with all these poisons and toxins. I mean, there's only so much you can do at the end of the day, and yeah, they're getting you through the air. The air you're breathing is, it's got the poisons and the toxins in it. It's got the poisons and the toxins in the food and the water. I mean, it's um, the barium, the strontium, aluminum, the poisons are messing people up. You wonder why everybody is so ill and looks so ill and so bad and stuff. I mean, this is why everyone's so run down, and um, yeah, all this stuff has a trickle down effect. I mean, it's never just one thing with these people. It's always multiple things. It's always multifaceted, and um, yeah, it's crazy because, like I said, you just see it with like when we were kids, and there'd be like one chemtrail or something, one like plane spraying, and how bad it's gotten, where it's gotten now. It's just you just see how it fits in just with everything else.
Yeah, I was talking to my sister and I was mentioning that too. It's just like even when I was a kid, when it was that rare one plane doing it, I had no idea about the like far-reaching plan and scheme they had with it. So back in the day, I almost remember it being almost like a good thing. Like, oh, it's making lines in the sky. That's like
Yeah,
kind of fun.
you're drawing up there.
Yeah. If only we knew that our responsibility was to stop it way back then.
Yeah,
But
back then, I mean, the sky was blue, the sun was yellow. I mean, the air wasn't toxic. I mean, the way things smelled. I mean, the way everything was. I mean,
Mhm.
it's so hard to put it into words. Like for people that are, it's like I always say. I mean, for anyone that's younger than if you weren't born by like 94, 95. I mean, you really missed out. I mean, you really missed it, because there was a time where it was like, um, and the way I always say it too, it's like I literally feel like I've lived 10 lives. It's like I've lived 10 lives already. It's crazy, just like the amount of pivots and changes and things coming and going. I mean, just to the point, it's just like people back in the day, people were outside. People would have, more people would have looked up, more people would have caught stuff. But now nobody's outside no more. No one's looking up. Nobody cares. Nobody sees it, and it just gets worse and worse. And yeah, it's crazy how many years people have been talking about this, how bad it's gotten. It's just like I really remember. I remember starting to get really bad too, like around like 2017. It was extremely bad. It was, like I said, that was like the worst spraying I've ever seen. Was like that year, especially back like in Wisconsin and stuff. And then yeah, it's crazy. Like, and then like I said, with the spraying now, it's um yeah, it's just spraying to the point where it's just the sky, everything is just white. I mean, just like the way everything looks dead. I mean, look at the trees, look at everything. It just looks dead. It just looks bad. Nothing looks good. I mean, you can just see the decay in the world, just the absolute decay and the falling apart.
And you made a good point earlier too, or just a minute ago, saying how that extends to humanity as well, and we, like it or not, are attuned to nature and vice versa, because we, like it or not, we're part of it. And we might not play the role that we're supposed to be playing. We might play the role of deforester, which is not our role, our natural role, um, and whatnot. But you know nature is a far-reaching uh, system. It's meant to be cohabitated, not like changed and taken over. And with all the different things we do to nature, this isn't gonna, I'm not trying to turn this into some like hippie rant or anything like that, but I think that everybody should have some hippie in them. Not to say necessarily that I don't want to anyway, but just some of that philosophy, I should say. um, because it really is, who knows what the grand scheme is of our world and our existence and our plane, if you will, and if what we're doing even really affects it on a grand scale. Or I tend to give it a lot more respect and say that it'll be fine. Did you remember that movie where like nature fights back by like putting poisonous spores on the wind and like killing a bunch of humanity?
Yeah, I don't know if I've seen that.
It like developed a plant, and then like anytime there was a breeze, you had to like get out of there. There's a slight breeze. It's like, oh shit. But yeah, they like the plants developed like a poison that would propagate on in the breezes, so that it could wipe out the cancer of humanity. Anyway, I think it was like Mark Wahlberg movie or something like that. I think it was Mark Wahlberg. But I tend to give it enough respect to say that whatever we throw at it, it can handle given time. Um, I don't know. I haven't checked in on the Exxon Valdez oil spill area. I don't know how that looks nowadays, but I remember that seeing how bad that was back when I was a kid, and certain things of that nature. And it's interesting, how devastating places can look and how quick nature can bounce back. And but that's even given with the benefit of the doubt that these things are accidents. But what we're really truly talking about is a concerted effort to change the natural way of things. To and I would say the grand scheme is to throw people's bodies and body clocks off to further fit their digital clock system.
Yeah.
And like you're mentioning these things as if like April and March are like guaranteed constants in nature. They're not. They were made up names from a made up, for a made up indexing of days system by the Catholic Church. This is, I mean, several different peoples have had their calendars and everything like that, some more accurate than others. But, we've been off of the analog time for a long time. We have no idea how far off track we are from like an actual good way of keeping track of um, seasonal movements, which is really just the sun and the moon. And I mean, just think about it. Half this last winter, if you will, I didn't even see the moon in the sky. Half of winter, I
Yeah.
couldn't find it in the sky. Any like multiple days in a row, I couldn't see it. And then it'd just be there. It's like, what? How is it there one day, right there, playing in the sky? And some, some actually,
you see here, because of the phasal shift, and because we're now tilted x-axis 0.001 megafeet per square unit of aluminum strontium, that the in the green, you see the greenhouse gases, right? Is because, if you don't drive a Tesla, you're moving us too far away. We're not even going to see the moon next year because there's not enough Teslas.
Anyway, I could really just live without the people playing fake scientists, because these people, these talking heads that they're getting their information from, the Neil deGrasse Tysons, the Bill Nyes, they're all frauds, known frauds. They're absolutely known frauds. Do we really? Oh, so let's trust the source then. Let's trust the German scientists that we brought over from Nazi Germany. And I even have an ulterior thought process on Nazi Germany personally, but um, as far as what their goals were. Yeah, but you'll get people. I bet you could work some, like a Black Lives Matter activist, into quoting Warner von Braun at some point along the way, and them not even knowing they're doing that. It's just like, oh yeah, you really like those Nazi scientists, don't you? Those, those ones that be like, huh? Be like, yeah, like that's where we're getting all this crap from, and like I said, I really do think a lot of these science jobs, and they're really just textbook manufacturing. It's really just printing out narratives that fit a certain mold that they want us in and they want us believing, and they'll change it up here and there, here and there. But Zach brings this up all the time on his channel about, why the hell do we learn about the Titanic 3 times before we're like 13? What three? Why do we got to learn about the Titanic so many times? Why do we got to learn about Egypt and stuff like that? People don't even know anything of, like, the only thing I remember them making us remember about our own country, not that I'm some like nationalist, it's just odd, is to like try to memorize the presidents and their vice presidents, or the states and the capitals and stuff like that. There's no real knowledge. They're never going to bring up the act that the United Kingdom put into effect in 1666 that declared every citizen dead at sea, and that's still in effect to this day. They're not going to bring that kind of stuff up. They're not, they're not going to mention Rothschilds when they talk about the Titanic. They're not going to mention, the that one book. It's like The Wreck of the Titan or something like that. Whatever. That book that pretty much chronicles what happened in 1912 to the Titanic, and how it was a big insurance fraud scheme. And yeah, anyway, I'm just super far off track, my bad. But science is not there's no science in and of itself is not a trusted source. Like, unless you got the beakers and you got the magnifying, unless you got all the stuff yourself and you're proving it to yourself, we're all just taking people at their word, who are the least trustworthy people on the planet.
Yeah, and you just got to look at all the people that benefited from the Titanic and what that really was. I mean, it's so obvious when you look at it, and it's just that's why you got things like the Titan and stuff. And I remember they even came out with the Titanic when I was like 2 years old. They came out in '97. They're on VHS. They're the Titanic and stuff. It's just they got to make everything into a theme, and yeah, it's like that show that used to be on TV too. It was like back around like I think like 2009. It's called like Life like After People or whatever like that, or I don't know if you ever heard it or seen it or whatever. But it was
I think
like
I have. I don't think I've seen it, but
I think it's called something like Life After People or something like how many years or years after people or something like that, and it's just like how nature just kind of comes back and reclaims things. You know, if everybody just disappeared and how much time it would take, and um, it's kind of like what we're saying here with the weather. It's just like, um, you know, we're destroying the place now, but then the place is going to end up making its comeback once it's all, you know, poisoned and destroyed and everything, and you know the people are gone and dead. The nature's going to come back and reclaim itself and be what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, I also have this other inkling that why they poison nature so much is because I think it reacts to what the beings are doing, because they are beings too. The plants are beings. It's all like
Yeah.
connected. So the plants will say, "Oh, okay, well, you know, I'll produce more chlorophyll, and I'll produce more of this and that, and I can handle this poison." But it sure seems like the people living here like this poison, so I'll develop this to make it more poisonous for them because they love spraying poison. So, you know, I think if you had an ecosystem, a closed off ecosystem, you could probably replicate this by putting poison into the atmosphere. I don't know if the plants would just continue, they might clean it off initially, but if you were to continue to do it, they might say, hey, let's learn to live with this poison. Let's learn to propagate in this poison. And you know, I think you'll start to see, you know, just think about the algae spreading across the world. They
Right.
said that over half the oceans are, or I think over 60% or something like that, the oceans aren't even blue anymore. They're green. They're considered green oceans. And there's plenty of places that are like red and orange because of invasive, they say. Invasive, right? Yeah, it has no right to be in our oceans.
Yeah.
This algae has no right. It didn't ask us. It didn't go through the proper channels. It's just like, what are you talking about? It can do whatever the hell it wants, obviously. Stop it. Go stop it. Go try. But yeah, these poisonous algae that are, you know, killing off water supplies, and what's interesting, you know, they're killing the animals too. They're starving
Yep.
out the fish because algae's one thing they're really good at is sucking up the oxygen, and so they deoxygenate the water, and then fish can't breathe in the water, and it's murky, and it's, you know, not a suitable habitat for living things. But I guarantee you a whole lot of, well, I say living things, but I mean animal living things, whereas a lot of plants are just like, man, this is great. We haven't had this much real estate in a long time. This feels great. It's like we're able to spread out into the ocean. We're chilling over here. So yeah, I mean, I think that movie actually could have some real world application to where, yeah, eventually we spray so many poisons, and you know, the, the trees and the plants absorb it into their DNA and their repertoire, and they're just like, yeah, yeah, we can live with this. In fact, there might even be some benefits for them. They're just like, yeah, we should be doing this. And before you know it, instead of producing oxygen for us to breathe, they're, you know, producing oxygen, aluminum bicarbonate, you know, instead of, you know what I mean? So I think that there's that aspect to why they spray so much too. It's not even just to just affect us right now. It's like this the long con, if you will, the long con trail uh,
Yep.
that they're playing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I said, I mean, you know, you go back to kind of like I feel like when they started spraying, you know, kind of like when around the time I was born, like when you start to see it when it started coming out, and you get like a plane here, and then um, how it just progressed over time, and then you know just how we got to certain points, it just got so bad, just like all the things they've done to everything. I mean, um, like I said, you know, the sky used to be blue, now it's just like a pale white. Used to, you know, the sun used to be yellow, now it's white. You know, you just don't have, um, you know, the water used to be, you know, so much more clean and clearer. Now it's there's so much pollution, and just the um, just the amount of just like disappearance of nature, just and all the nature that's being destroyed. And there's so much people don't even know about that happens too. It's like what goes on in like South America and stuff, and the
Hmm.
rainforest and all that, and that all plays a huge role too, because that's something that could be, combating this and, pumping out, good air and good oxygen. And, you cut all that down. Now, you're getting more pollution buildup. You're getting a backup. You're getting an overflow. And and this is going on all over too. I mean, it's just, you just look at the trees themselves. Like I said, the trees don't look good. I mean, trees look bad. They look unhealthy. Like I said, the animals are scarce. They're harder to find. I mean, um, you used to have to, worry about all the bees and insects, and now they're all, going away and they're dying and stuff. And they're just, they're killing off everything. And it's just, people don't, like I always say, it's not about just people. It's about all living things. It's all life. It doesn't matter if it's a plant, an insect, a person, or anything at all.
Yeah, but we might be saying they a lot, but I think that's just because we have a relative understanding of, we could put generalizations on it, Jesuits, Catholic Church, and everything like that. But I still think people would have a hard time like understanding those people like doing something like this, like some sophisticated thing. But it really takes, for those who don't understand these things, it's, behind all these great scientific minds, quote unquote, and, religious philosophers and natural philosophers, because actually science used to be, before science was science, I think it was called natural philosophy. That's what was science used to be called, which was like the understanding of nature. This philosophy, I think, means like to understand or understand, gain, or something like that. But back then, philosophers were those who, yeah, they looked up at the stars and they looked up at those things, but it was all contrasted with where we fit, where humans fit, and what we're supposed to be doing based on those things. So it's like you have certain like historical philosophers that are made to be, today we'll call them historical philosophers, but really they were natural philosophers. They were taking down history and information for the sole purpose of humans understanding what they should be doing at certain times, and whether we're talking about the seasons, solstices, and what have you, and the cycles of nature versus the cycles of like human nature. And I think at one point, without getting too like biblical or anything, I think that there was a unity between the two, and there is an idea to us supposed to be the tenders of the garden, which is the world we live in. And you look around today, it's not supposed to be, an asphalt jungle. It's not supposed to be. It's just it is really quite frustrating that the childlike wonder and wants never really manifest. And the more years go by, it just gets further and further away. And you can go out into a beautiful countryside like where I'm living now, but you realize when you drive 10 minutes down the road that there's 100 signs for new condominiums being put up and new buildings being put up, just inching and inching their way out. Not even slowly, I would say slowly, but not really. And before you know it, there's really not going to be any room for nature anymore. And what's that really going to, what adverse effects is that really going to have? Because I think that the ecosystem and the system of nature will just take it lying down? I don't think it can. I think it's much more robotic. It's like, people talk about nature like it's like perfectly flowing thing, and it might appear as if it's flowing, but it's almost the same thing as understanding your body, because you can't understand your body. You really can't. We could try all we want, but who could ever explain why our blood remembers stuff? Why certain things just do things without any reason? Like, why does without me even knowing I need I need 30 cc's of of like bursts of fluid to my knuckles. Or else my joints are going to be sore. It just does that shit. It's just like, oh yeah, we don't want to be sore, so let's just go do that. It just, I had no idea it was doing it. But now I'm just moving my arm because I can do that because it did that. And we can put like labels on it, but it's also, have you ever gone down the like health and body rabbit hole? Not in terms of fitness, but maybe in terms of fitness because that it is similar. But have you ever seen how much we don't know?
Oh
Like
yeah.
even science claims that they don't know almost everything to do with the human body still.
Yeah, I mean it's amazing what we are. I mean, it's just I always say it's like it's just the fact you can like put something like as poisonous as alcohol in your system and it still functions, it still runs. You're still you're poisoning yourself, but you can take it, and it's just like um to a point. Obviously, you can
Mhm.
do too much and kill yourself and die, but yeah, it's like just the way like how durable we are. Like people don't realize like how like strong and durable that their bodies really are, and how they're really made and stuff, and um just like the way you're designed, and it's crazy how it's like how we have all these senses, and we like just like the overall design of us, and like what all the things that we can do, and then it's like the mind itself. I mean, you got the body, you got the mind, and then there's this other element, this like this spiritual world and stuff. And I think that's a big reason too why people can't understand things and can't figure things out, because um I just think there's just way more to things, to what's going on, than we know and we see. It's like we always say, there's more to names than we know. I mean, that there's more to dates, numbers, names, stuff like that than we even know. I mean, uh, just the way some, like I said, some people are just, and everyone's different. I mean, everyone's um, people trying to understand the human body, the human mind, like our soul and stuff. But it's obvious that there's so many other things going on. It's just like it's uh, how some of the stuff comes out to even be. It's just like um, just how, like I said, just how certain things could kill somebody, or really like damage them, or uh, something that would be devastating. But yet people can their body can withstand it, or they come out just fine. It's just or you see someone, it's like, how did that person not die, or how did that person come back from that? It's just like um yeah, we really were, it's like, yeah, there's so many things in the world and life that can kill you, but it's like you have to be pretty tough and strong to be here to survive all this. Like it's like the way they, like I was saying, like all the poison, all the stuff they do to us, but yet we still have to take all that. We're still here, we're still taking it in. So um yeah, and it's like I said, you get some people, it's like they smoke cigarettes, and they don't get cancer. They live till they're 100 years old, and they're fine. Some people, they smoke cigarettes, and they're dead by like 40. So it's, everyone's different. Everyone has different vices, and everyone's is built differently. And it's just it's really crazy, just like how certain people just, it's like certain people just like they have certain like powers too. It's like certain people, they it's just like, oh, this is your gift, this is what you're good at, this is something you can do. It's like what or who or how is that really being decided? Like
Mm.
that there's a lot more to life and simple things than we know, and that people like to think things are so simple and easy to understand, but things are a lot more complex to it than what we really are ever told, or what most people want to think about. There's a lot going on more than meets the eye.
Hmm. What I was thinking of was kind of based on what you were saying. about humans, how they will. What I was thinking was is evolution and the theory of evolution and whether or not that is it really us evolving, or is it like human evolution, is like our body's evolution, or is it like the system around us evolving and forcing, how do I phrase this, because I guess you could call that evolution too, but
Well, it's kind of like what I brought up before. What I said, it's like how I feel like I've lived like 10 different lives already. It's like I feel like I've lived 10 lives. That's what, like, if somebody, it's like it's weird. It's hard to put into words, like how you always say it. Like it's hard to describe, put into words. It's like, because like here I am, like it's like, yeah, I'm like gonna be 30 in my 31st year of life, but it's like it's not that I feel old. I mean, like, I know I have like an old soul, or like an old spirit, but it's like I don't. It's not like I feel old, but it's just like I don't know. I just feel weird. I just feel like I've lived like through 10 different lives already. Like people that are younger, like I said, they won't understand, they won't know, but it's really hard to put into words because it's just like how we've just came through all these just massive changes. I mean, they've totally inverted life in 30 years. I mean, that's really insane when you think about it. And it's just like a lot of people, some people might say it's a short amount of time, but that's also, it's a lot of time, but it's also not that much time too when you think about it.
another interesting thing is too is like through media, it's like the more I grew, as I was growing up, I would see like what they would say the future was going to be, and it always seemed just like, oh yeah, yeah, right. Like who would want that? Who would want that? And then
Right.
just the more we go, it's just the more it seems like people really actually, they knew even back then that people would want this like dystopian future. That's the only way I see it developing. Half the things, half more than half the things that people cling to and or get addicted to or consider like good nowadays is is just like in clear disharmony is with my idea of, or what I would want us to be in tune with the world around us. And whether or not it's like the smartphone thing, before smartphones, it didn't seem like sure it was feasible, and sure it might have been even sounded cool in a having this and this at your fingertips and that, but when it first came out it was absolute garbage. The first phones were absolutely trash and they cost a fortune. Like everything you want, I remember like texting plans on phones were insanity. But and so it gives you this idea that's like, oh, this is garbage, who would want this? But within a few years after that, it's just no one can live without it already. And you just see these things evolve, and it's like into modern day, it's just like I remember the last time it was like during the pandemic, when Uber and all these delivery things were coming. I was like, people aren't going to go for this. This is garbage. Pay a bunch of extra money when you can just go there. But literally everybody did it. They just said, yeah, no, it's so real that it doesn't even make sense. You do this stuff. You delivered with Uber. It's just like, how do you work that out in your mind? I'm gonna go have a stranger I don't know. I could open the bag and just cough in it as much as I'd want, and you would never know. That I'm not saying anyone should do that. It's just it's such a weird thing. Such a why if you really were worried about the things, you would go pick up the food yourself. But
Yeah,
they anyway.
and that's exactly right. It's like, and I didn't even know what this was until uh, like I said, until like 2017 when like I said, I came out here in 2016. I took a road trip, and they took another road trip out here in 2017, and then I moved out here in 2017. But I didn't even know what Uber was until I was like 22. Like I didn't know what the fuck this was. I'm like, what the fuck is this? I've never heard of this. And then I just got into it, and just bam. That's what I mean. Like, when I was born, the internet wasn't even out yet. You didn't the PlayStation 1 wasn't even out yet, and you had cassettes and CDs, and you had
Hell
uh,
yeah.
VHS tapes, and it was just a different world. Everything was different. You can't even. I just can't put into words. I mean, it's just everything has changed. Just the way, just like even the things you thought about. It's like I said, it's like, oh, you're worried about, worrying about how to, things that you would have been right about. Not that you were wrong. You were right back then, but now you're wrong, or now that's not even here anymore. It's like you're worried how to write a check. Well, no one even writes checks no more. It's old, People don't, it's like all the stuff I was doing when I was a kid, cursive and all this other shit. You don't use it no more. You don't learn it. It's like all these other things. It's like, and then it's just like, yeah. And then, all the, oh, well, maybe it'll go this way, or maybe it'll go that way. And then it's just like the way it goes. It's just like, really, it's going to go that way. It's like, because nobody would want, a Tesla Cybertruck, 30 years ago. Nobody would want that. Now you look at it, everybody wants it. It's just like they have to make a fad that everybody just is going to want, and it's just that's kind of what it seems it's been my whole life. It just seems like it's been like 30 years of fads and different lives I've been living, and it's just like I've been living this kind of this trend of what's coming, what's going to go. Because I mean, it's just like I say, it was like 2002. I was like in the library at like elementary school, and I was like reading books, and people were like, or the teacher would be like, or a library person would be like, oh, you gotta get in there, Austin. You gotta get on the computer. You gotta learn the internet. It's coming. It's gonna be the biggest thing. You're gonna need it. It's gonna be everything. It's like you gotta figure it out. And it's just like I just want to be over here, just like looking at my book, just reading my book, doing my thing. Like it's like I see people on the computer and stuff, and like I'd see like like my sister on the old Windows and stuff. But it was just like I was just watching this come up, but here I was then, and just like now you look at it now, it's just like that's amazing that all this happens. Like I said, I didn't even have uh, I think I got I was using like a laptop. I know like by like 2000 like 7ish, I was like on a laptop. So like by the time I was like 12, and then yeah, like I said, I didn't even get a phone with internet until like 2014. So I was like 19. So yeah, it's just like, and now it's been like over a decade of this shit. So it's just like, yeah, it's amazing. It's like just the changes of the world. Like there's just been so many like micro like kind of managing changes, just like so many pivot points in that time. Just like because like I said, I mean, you go back like 23, 24, 25 years ago, it seemed like it just seemed like things there just seemed, I don't know, it's just like you just felt like maybe that was just kind of it. Like it just everything just after that point, just like I said, everything after like 2002, you could just see it like on just everything just was in decay, it was in decline, it was just getting worse, the quality of stuff, and you know the phones were becoming more like of a thing, and everyone was like getting cell phones, and the internet, like social media was like maybe not like here yet, but it kind of was like in the beginning stages, and it's like um yeah, it's just crazy. And then I need to see the evolution of society too. Just like I say, some people they used to be outside doing things, and now nobody goes outside no more. Everyone's indoors. So there was like the times before COVID, now the times now, like the times of the '90s when everyone is just like happy and chill, and you just get to this, and everyone just like their mood changes 9/11 and just like the 2000s, and everything's just changing and going downhill, and it's just this weird vibe, and it's so weird to like backtrack what my life was, because it's just been this weird moment. I'm brought into the internet, or what's going to be the internet, and it's just like I'm just watching this take over and spread out and consume the world in 30 years and just change it all. It's just absolutely amazing. It's just absolutely phenomenal to witness it and just see so much change in just such little time.
Yeah, I think about this kind of thing often. Like you were mentioning, with the past. And I was born in '90, and I guess I'll say this first, and then I'll talk about what I think about my peers, I guess, my age group peers. But what I did appreciate about coming up is that, kids nowadays, I think, will look at technology because it is bad. It's not bad as an evil. It is that too, but it's bad. Like everything they get, it's like, sure, it's like, it might seem crazy if you showed it to someone back in 1920s, sure. But nothing has really evolved and actually become all that cool. It is cool to an extent, like the computers and everything. Yeah, there is a cool factor to it. But alternatively, what I liked about the '90s was how uncool all the things they tried to push on us were. They were so bad in their initial stages that they didn't take. And initially, by peers and the adults growing up in the '90s, when I was a kid, they didn't take. And so you had things that they tried to give to you, but they were so bad. Like I'm talking about like voicemail. Like people have to understand that voicemail was not always a thing. So like even when like the first iterations of that, they were so bad, and people just like, nah, screw that. We'll just call. We'll just go by their house. We'll send them a letter in the mail. Whoa. You mean email? No, a mailbox. But and it just kind of forced that personalization. But not only that, from my memory, it's like people were like more willing to stay. Man, I'm tracking this bug. It's pissing me off. It keeps crawling across my desk. Anyway, uh, people are more willing to, keep it personal and personable as well. And what's so interesting is like my whole age group and peers and people that I know today, and even people slightly older that would, shouldn't have this excuse because I don't feel this way. I would much rather go back to those times. They're just as inundated with the things that are like cool. I appreciated that things weren't as cool back in the day. Like the coolest things we had were, in the grand scheme of things, barely that technologically savvy, or like, our game systems were garbage. That, some of the most fun I had on a computer ever was like a floppy disk game called Framed. That, dude, I played the hell out of that game. But other than that, it was, outdoors. We were outside all day from sun up to sundown. We had a plum tree, a pear tree, and an apple tree, and we came in for dinner. It was like, you're not eating any food in this house when there's all that food outside. Go outside and eat, and you can come in for dinner. That was really our childhood. And then even growing up, and that was when I was homeschooled, living at my grandma's house. But once my mom married and we moved into their house, and we ended up going to school, and that early technology, like I said, it was just so bad that it was so easy for people to say, nah, we're good. And it was like a prideful thing. It's like everybody was on the same page of being not okay with the crap technology they were trying to give us. But what's disappointing is there was a line. There was a line that once it got cool enough, okay, yeah, let's do it. And I kind of just wish that never happened. I wish that, we held off. Like because you look at where we're at now, it's just like those first initial, what seemed so cool, whether it was a gaming system or, talking about like maybe like even like Game Boy Color and certain things that just, if you think about Game Boy Colors, they put enough of those into people's hands. They were kind of the first cell phones. I remember seeing people walking around playing their Game Boy Color on the sidewalk. I'm like, God damn, just like go sit down somewhere. Like, it's like, it was jarring back in the day when there was nothing like that. It was like the first things. And then you see what happens with cell phones. It's just like, holy crap. Look at how they did. It's just so easy when they did it. But my point still remains, just like there was nothing cool back in the day technologically. So we had to come up with what was cool. And, you know, the things that we thought were cool were like activities and certain games we'd play that we'd have to make up and do things creatively. Whereas now it's just force fed to us. It's like Candy Crush is cool. So no, that shit is not cool. It's not cool. You might get brainless downtime playing it, but that shit is not cool. You can't convince anybody that that's like a cool use of your time. That's what your technology is doing. I bet if you were to look at the global hours of nationwide played on Candy Crush, it would make you like instantly vomit. It's just like,
Yeah,
how is it possible? Where are we going? What are we doing?
yeah, it's so weird how like I said, the timing of things um like I said, how like you know, the internet and the PlayStation, like there was the PlayStation 1, it's like, and then the PlayStation 2 comes out in like 2000, and you know, it was a huge jump um from the PlayStation 1. It was a huge jump, and then it's like, and then it's just like everything really after the PS2, like it's just gotten worse. Like the PS3, the PS4, the PS5 already on. It's just like everything's just been going downhill, and it's been like the PS3, the PS4, the PS5 has been like the same thing over and over again. So it was kind of like we got to this point where it's like things got to be like, okay, this is like the peak, this is the best they're ever going to be, and then it's just like, and then it's just going to go backwards. It's going to be the same thing recycled, but just worse quality every time. So it's just going to be, you know, just keep coming back for this, you know, garbage quality that's not even coming anywhere. Where as before, you know, you actually had, you know, progression and things. You know, things were, you know, getting better and just seemed exciting. Seemed, you know, like you wanted to, you know, get into it. And it's just like it was, you know, up and coming, and then it just, you know, it just plateaus, staggers off, then goes backwards. But it's like, um, instead of people like it, you know, in the beginning, like uh, when the technology was crappy, it's like now that it's, you know, it's like and it's, I mean, technology and the internet stuff, it's changed the world, you know, for better and worse in a lot of ways too. Um, and that's just the kind of thing, you know, all this stuff has changed the world for better and worse. It's just like, and then we've just kind of allowed these things to just kind of stagger around and it's become the same thing. It's like I said, it's like the same smartphone, iPhone every year. That's just getting the, you know, it's just the same thing over and over again. Up, here's your new smartphone, new iPhone. Oh, yeah, the phone's got, you know, some upgrades, some new things, different things. But I mean, it's like at what point, you know, is that just kind of like it? Because it's like we've been at the same point now for how long, and just like everything else is just, it's just getting worse. I mean, the progression's just, it's going backwards. So it's like at what point do we uh, just kind of accept that and then just go, okay, well, you know, what we had, you know, the PS2 was, you know, the best gaming system of all time. So it's like, okay, well, why don't we strive more like that? It's like that's what people don't understand. It's like the reason we're getting what we're getting is this was all, you know, planned to be this way. It's all uh, you know, all these things. This is like how, you know, how it was like boom. It was like Grand Theft Auto 3, Vice City, San Andreas. Look how many years it's been. We're still talking about Grand Theft Auto 6 and Grand Theft Auto 6 coming out. It's like it's never coming out. You know what I mean? It's like we just keep talking about it. It's like, um,
It'll come out in minutes. All right. I'll put some money on that.
yeah, it's like they show you all these trailers and stuff, and it's just, yeah, it's just, it's so weird how they do all these things, and it's just like, and that's like the thing I see with people. It's just like, um, you know, like I was saying, it's like, do people? I mean, do they serve, you know, like a purpose, or they just purposely serve? And you know, most people, they just purposely serve. I mean, they're the ones that just keep, eating up all these garbage games and all the garbage technology that's out there and everything. And then, um, and the importance of, like I said, you know, having something to offer. You know, it's just like people like us, like we have things to offer. You know, it's like there's things for us to do and be part of. We're literally, you know, it's like what we're doing with like NASCAR. Like we're seeing through the script. We're seeing through the script of other things. We actually are in tune with the world and how the world works. And then you just kind of have these other people, and it's like they're either just gonna, just be who they are because they don't want to be judged. Um, they're too worried about, being judged, or they're too worried. I don't know. It's just like they're just. It's like, or they're just. It's like the religious people. It's like religion. It's like, Christianity. It's like, um, well, I believe in Jesus, so it's like, or I believe in God or Jesus, so it's like I'm just gonna just rest on that. I'm just not gonna do anything. I'm not gonna, revolt. I'm not gonna have a revolution. I'm not gonna fight back. I'm not gonna do anything. And that's really what you have. I mean, that's why, you don't have, the people, on the front lines, that should be fighting back and doing what needs to be done and calling things out. You just have people that are just, so used to this garbage world, garbage technology, overpriced things and overpriced cars, and and they're just going to keep coming back to the, it's all about Jesus, just praise, uh it's all about power of Jesus in Christianity, and it's um, we just got to believe in Him, and then they're not going to do anything about anything. They're not going to push back. They're not going to fight back. They're not they're not they don't really serve a purpose. They don't have a purpose. They don't have anything to offer. I mean, they're just um, hiding behind something and using something as an excuse. And one really, it's like I said, everything is just so simple. I mean, there's so many of us, it's like if all of us, like I said, just, didn't pay our taxes, or, didn't pay our registration or insurance or tabs, or, pay for the parking tickets, or, make these things what they are. These things wouldn't exist. They wouldn't even be here. They wouldn't even be, they shouldn't be here as it is. And it's just, you just don't have the numbers in society, the people to have, the right things in mind. They're worrying about, just making money, and like I said, getting ahead and success, and cryptocurrency and Bitcoin, all this stuff is going to save them, and Jesus is going to save them. They should be worried about and thinking about, the cyber attack when the grid goes down, and the agenda we're facing. It's just like people just, they just can't either accept it or don't want to face it.
Yeah, I want to bring it back to something you said earlier, because it is quite interesting, and if maybe when people can see it through this lens, they can kind of understand where we're coming from. Is, you're talking about the console systems, and how they just pump out something that's, stagnant or worse every single year, but you still get that initial rush of excitement for them. Well, I think I would implore people to go, if they can, like, watch those, what do they call them? Sony does it, and then Nintendo does it. They're like can't remember what the hell they're called. It's very similar to like what Apple would do when they were introducing their iPhones, or just watch the Apple ones. But it's psychological. They do the same thing every single time. Just like, think about award shows. How have they never changed? Like, certain things like that. But anyway, sticking with the console things, it's like they'll do these announcement shows for, features of the console and what you have to look forward to, and their formula has never changed. And it makes you wonder. It's just like, with hindsight, obviously, because, enough people have owned the Xbox and Xbox 360, and then the Xbox One, and like you said, the PS1, PS2, PS3, PS4, to know that these things had minimal changes, and, really didn't offer anything that much greater than what the price point was asking. And yet they gave you the same diatribe like every few years about, why you needed the next one. And so, yeah, you can kind of spot the trend on, and this is, we're talking about these specific, like, consoles and stuff, but this is really everything. It's just like, how many people in this world got rid of their, like, perfectly working cast iron stoves that were like built into their house back in the day for like the first models of gas stoves, because they were told it was just some great thing that they're never going to want to go back to. Meanwhile, fast forward 100 years and people are like, man, we should put those cast iron stoves in and they cost $10,000 now. It's just like, God, man. It's like, it it really is. It's so psychological. It makes me sick that there's an echelon of people that can see it, and you alluding to this. It's like it doesn't make us like we're not special in any way. We're not like more attuned or smarter. Anybody can do this. I think it's not even about smarts. It's actually about like uh, ego and
It's like awareness.
yeah, that too. I'm saying I think you gain the awareness though by having your ego crack and being okay with it cracking, realizing that your ego was not the most important thing. That you know, when I quote unquote really came to and realized that the things that I've been doing wrong are multifaceted, like, and I'm still not there today. Obviously, it's like I don't think it's an ongoing process. I hope to by the time I'm truly old that I will have made great progress since waking up. But a lot of these things are slow processes because it's complete learning. If there was a trajectory when I was maybe like 6 or 7 years old, that if things worked out correctly, or if I was to know then and be wise enough at 6 or 7 years old to force myself down a good path, then yeah, I could have avoided a lot of this, and my learning curve would have been a lot smaller. But as it stands, I was like 30 years old. So, not 30, but I was in my late 20s. So unfortunately, I've only had a few years since then, and I dug myself in such a hole I didn't know I was digging, that in my most active and fertile, no, not fertile, that's the wrong word, but my most active and like you know gung ho years, I was digging myself a hole. Just imagine, so now I'm a little bit older, a little bit creakier, a little bit more sore, easier, and a little bit lazier. And I say a little bit, a lot of it in all those areas. And it's a lot harder to drill in that hole than it was to dig it when I didn't even know I was digging it. And so, but what I was trying to say is that this isn't some secret thing. It's just like give up the ego, give up the want to have everything so damn easy. And once you appreciate the things that aren't so easy, you'll start to notice how evil easiness really is. It I mean, maybe the thought of easiness isn't evil, but the way we put it into practice is evil. Look at all the things like the like leads to stagnation, sloth. And I'm not trying to be like super religious with my terminology here, but these things, the more we rely on like outside sources for our happiness and everything else, the worse we get. And I think a lot of it has to do with our inundation with how easy things have become, only because they've allowed it to be this easy. They can pull the plug in at any moment, and you will have no idea what you're doing, and it's going to be scary. And there's a reason they give you the media. They give you the Walking Dead shows, and they give you all these shows about these apocalyptic events that turn people into animalistic people, because they're not going to know anything else. People's identities are tied to their games and cell phones. When those things are taken away, they're not going to know how to get things for themselves. So they're going to have to take things. And that their identity will then be to take things. Well, then, and what's scary about that is like you have people who are good people who all along wanted those people to wake up, and that, they're not training in this post world to take things from other people. So they're at an automatic disadvantage in this new world too. That's what really, worries me moving forward is how small of an act do they have to do to to flip an entire coast of the United States. What if half of the country's power went out? You know, with no, just blackout, nothing. How long do you think it would take without government? What is government going to go door to door? Are they going to go to every rural county? Are they going to go every single place and tell them? Because do people have ham radios? No. Do people, are people going to have any way of getting any type of signal from the outside world? No. How long before people go into such a state of panic that it becomes like dog eat dog? And in that situation, how can I convince you to, instead of breaking into my house, let's go fucking go to the White House? That's the time. And is that even going to happen? It's like they give us that media. I think it's almost training to like I say, it's that subconscious first thing. Like people will see these movies where when when an apocalyptic event happens, looting, go get your neighbor, base things start happening. It's like, stealing leads to violence, leads to sexual violence, leads to, like, you just further dive into the terrible rabbit hole because who cares? Who cares? Look at around us. It's a free for all. And that's not to say that will happen. We have no evidence of that happening because these things haven't happened yet. But it's already the first thing in their mind. How do we supplant that with a better idea? Because it really, there's no knowing if that's really truly what will happen, but you can kind of base things off of the things that have happened, like Katrina and certain other things where, the most prevalent, I mean, hell, I lived in Portland when we had one of the biggest like looting sprees in the country in our downtown district, and you got to come visit. And even though that was years afterwards, you see the effects. It's still, half the city's still not even open.
Yeah, and it's just like this is just where it's at. Like I said, with people, I mean, it's just like you were saying. I mean, what point does it take people to I don't know, just like what want to do something or point the energy, in the right direction.
That's a good way
It's
to
like,
put it.
yeah, it's like, all these people. It's like they'll say, we need change, or something's got to happen, or we got to do something. But it's just like so many people just want to keep going back to, Jesus or religion or something, and it's just like, people don't, people weren't mad, and until they did COVID and screwed everybody over, um, and people weren't, mad until 9/11 and all the stuff that brought, and all these situations, you know, oh, Kurt Cobain dies, and oh, things change. Kurt Cobain dies. Here comes the internet. But then you have, like I said, 9/11, and and then COVID, and then it's just like, it's just like people just want to wait till the next event, and then they'll be mad when the grid goes down, the power goes out, because you know they won't have their job and their career no more. But it's like, yeah, if they just would focus on that and worry about that now, um, then we could actually possibly fix or solve the problem. It's just, again, like I said, it always comes down to priorities, where people's mind is at. And it's like it's like it's important to, like, you want to, like, hold a grudge. You got to hold a grudge with these people. You can't you know forgive them for what they did, with COVID, and then what they're about to do again. You can't just keep forgiving these people and forgetting about them. You gotta hate these people. You gotta want to exterminate these people. You gotta be barbaric. You gotta be a killer. You gotta be a fighter. Uh, Unfortunately, if you're none of those things, you're not gonna win. You're gonna lose every time, and uh, we're just gonna keep end up losing these people, because they're just gonna keep doing these events. And it's kind of like the saying. People can say, oh, well, it's like life is, what you make it. It's like, yeah, and it's like, I mean, that's, like half true at best, because yeah, it's, what you can do. It's like I said, you can do all you can do, and that's all you can do. But it more comes down to what the majority of society makes it, and what the government makes it, and all the other things. I mean, there's only so much you can do, there's only so much you can get away from, and uh, until people understand that and want to actually do something or take action, nothing's going to change.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do think that there's, religion's always going to have a place somewhere, that people are always going to, you know, it does, you could put any face or anything on it, and, there'll be a swath of people that choose to, take up that route. What I do find aggravating about it, though, in this specific situation, is you mention it in this idea of, moving forward as a society, and, on one hand, you would prefer us to be ready and pointing our energy towards the tyrants rather than, you know, back at our neighbors and things of that nature, and, us having a plan when these things take place. Well, what's so interesting is the Bible has so many uh, oxymorons, basically, because you'll have people espousing that, you know it's like their religious duty, it's their Christly duty, their Christian duty to, you can be violent in the name of, pushing the needle forward, but then at the same time turn the other cheek. It's just like,
Right.
wait, which one should I be doing? So you'll have these people, and I feel for them because I can kind of understand. I understand both sides, and I'm not 100% on either side either. But I can tell you right now, with my fleshly body, unfortunately, I'm not trying to get beaten and maimed and watch my family die or anything like that. So it's like I'm going to much rather I'm going to be I'm going to have to be the other one. I'm not going to be the one that just sits there and prays while everything happens right in front of my eyes. So, and like I was saying too, you're at an automatic disadvantage. You're up against people who are ready, who already know it's coming. So if we're just going to powwow and pray when that day comes with no plan, it's there's a level of that it's illogical, and there's another level that I do potentially believe that the Lord of hosts, the creator of this universe, would find potential benefits on either side. But I don't know that, there's only so much I can speculate on and hope for. But, I could see, the stoicism of a man to not turn to violence. That might be key in that potential afterlife, or whatever you want to call it, or soul's next journey. But also the vigor to defend those that are under you. Is that not the Lord's charge as well? Did he not give that to men to defend his family? So it's really these catch 22s, these oxymorons that you don't know which one am I supposed to do. And I feel for people, in this next era, that, when things do pop up, when if they do, and, they take this stoic approach with no plan whatsoever, it's going to take, you know Ricky down the street, who didn't, graduate high school and couldn't graduate high school, never mind didn't, who, you know, meth addict, he's gonna run through your whole family solo. He's gonna completely destroy your entire livelihood in one day, because you're just so unprepared for this level of a potential. And it's unfortunate, but like I said, I can see where they're coming from on both sides, but you know, I could try to meet in the middle, and try to be not quick to the trigger, on everybody. It's so weird to talk about these kinds of things because it almost puts you in a movie. You know what I mean? When you think about it. But what's the point of not talking about it? What's the point of not, potentially speculating? It doesn't like make you a bad person. It doesn't make you a negative person. It's like who's going to be saying that the day that the lights go out? Who's going to be sitting there saying, you were just so negative about all of this. It's like, no, you'd be like, thank you for being ready and me knowing you and able to navigate better than I would have been able to. I would have just curled up and died. And that's what I think a lot of people are going to do is curl up and die. And then the other people are going to take advantage of those curled up people. And it's going to present us with this. It's going to be hell on earth because you're going to see the outside, the devil, if you will, influencing us and us falling into those base traits. But you're also going to see without any influence at all, you could just as easily help that person. But you will see everybody who has that opportunity to just as easily help a person, they won't do it. They will take advantage. If the opportunity to take advantage is the same as the opportunity to hurt somebody, people will choose to hurt somebody. So if you're not ready for people to be ready to hurt people, you're just at such a disadvantage that it's scary to think about. And when you have family members and stuff of the like, you don't need family members. I say that stuff, and I do feel like I have a unique perspective because I obviously would do anything for my family. But at the same time, I completely understand how it's nobody else would care about that. It's nobody else's need or want to care about how much I care about it. You know what I mean? It's weird, but like I can be self-aware enough of about that, and to the point where it's just like we can have these conversations because I think it's such a taboo thing for someone with a family to talk about like being violent or like, you know what I mean, or like taking this approach or it's almost like anti-human, but I'm talking about in an anti-human world, which is we're already living it. It's like it's a very fine line between your people turning animalistic and already are. It's like the only reason they're not doing that is like when you realize the only reason they're not doing that is because they have a phone that works. That's when you really start to like wake up to this whole garbage.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, um, it's just like those sayings, love thy enemy and, give Caesar what's his. I mean, and then, if you want to, it's like I say, like what really is negativity? It's like, love thy enemy and give Caesar what's his. I mean, what kind of God is this? Why is he really saying this? It doesn't even make sense. And it's just like, um, that's what you have to just, it's like I say, what really is negative? What's really negativity? I mean, you got to look at the world and in the world we're in. It's just like, and I don't know. It is. It's such a weird thing how people, certain people. It's just like they're afraid to be like really confrontational. They really don't want to think about things or they don't want to rock the boat or they don't want to rebel against the system because they're too comfortable. But yet, if you tell them and they should know about what's to come, well, I mean, it's no different than what they did with COVID. It's no different than what's going to happen next time. It's just you know yeah, it's going to ruin people's lives and destroy everything and destroy our world and what we have. And that's what should motivate, inspire people and rile them up to want to do something. I mean, and the fact that they always tell you their plans and what they're going to do, and they go up there and they do it. So now it's like now you have, you should have more motivation. You should have more inspiration to go out there and want to do something, especially after 2020 and COVID and what they've told you they're going to do. I mean, and with the depopulation plans they have, like, but It's just like you have everyone that they're so comfortable that they're just living their own comfortable life. You know, they got Jesus. They're not, you know, it's for them. It's not about really, you know, and they might say they want to do something, or you know, that they might, you know, but it's like, how much do they, you know, how much do they really want to do? I mean, how much do they really just kind of mean what they're saying, and how much is it they're just, you know, kind of just hiding, hunkering behind religion and stuff? Because it's kind of like what it really, or, you know, something else. It's like, um, you know, it's just, it's so weird where they have humanity. It's just like, you know, you don't have enough people. It's like, you know, people waking up, and then people are, oh, they're mad, or, you know, they're turned against the system. But, you know, it's just like, you just need the right people in the right ways to just do the right things, and it should be so easy. And it should be so easy that there shouldn't be, and there should be so many people that don't pay their taxes. There should be so many people that aren't paying their insurance. There should be so many people that, you know, aren't, you know, going for this garbage. It's just, there should be, there's way too many people. And it's just like, we're too divided on levels of where they have us. You know, there's the people that too just want to make it all about money. They just, you know, just, oh, just, you know, got to work and make more money and stuff, and just think they're going to hide behind their cryptocurrency, hide behind their digital currency, hide behind their Bitcoin, until it all goes crashing down. It's like, and what makes you think by going over there and being on that system that, you know, you're any more free or any more better than, or you're getting away from anything? I mean, you really think they're just going to give you a freebie? I mean, that's like them saying, oh, we're just going to give you this right here in you know, town you live in. There's a area of the town. There's a whole area where, you could just live for free. You know, everything's free. You get free money. You get things handed to you. Yeah, you just gotta go live over there. It's just like, you really think they're just gonna give you that? It's just, um, yeah. Then you just, like I said, it's just, you know, what is it gonna take? I mean, look how many people lost everything, to, you know, and then lost their lives and stuff because they took a jab or didn't want to take a jab or something. I mean, imagine what it's gonna be next. What people are gonna do. I mean, they're really gonna, um, really destroy people with the next event. And it's, I think we're going to see, uh, you know, hopefully there's enough outlash, there's enough outrage where people actually, um, just to get mad enough and want to do something. Like you said, you know, when it all goes down, are we, you know, pointing the finger at, you know, the White House and the Jesuits and the right people, or is it just going to be, um, you know, whatever? Is it just, you know, they're going to have their enemy? Oh, it's China. Oh, it's, you know, whoever, you know, oh, it was the war on germs. It was COVID, you know, it was,
We ran out of toilet paper. We had no choice.
yeah, they always just divert the issue. So yeah, it's just, I think that's what it comes down to. It's just, you know, what does it really take for most people to, you know, it's just like, people just want to think this is, like I said, it's always about a money game. No, it's about a power and control game. That's why, you know, you have to want to fight back, and you have to fight back because they are trying to enslave you. It's not a future where you're going to be successful and prosperous. Like I always say, it's, you're going to be living in the bubble world, and, you know, no one's going to be doing well, uh, for the most part, and happy and living and doing well in a bubble world. And that's, you know, that's where it's going. I mean, people are gonna have to make a decision, and, you know, because it's gonna be what, yeah, like I said, most people, like I said, they're gonna sell out. I mean, they're just gonna sell out. You know, oh, I got my family, I got my, you know, my wife, my kids, oh, I got my job, my career. You know, I gotta do what they tell me. I gotta, you know, take that jab. I gotta, you know, do this, do that. You know, it's just, yeah, it's just most people won't do what they need to do, and do it. You know, it's all about timing. You have to beat them before they beat you to the punch.
Yeah, and figuring out how to navigate that. And I could, I feel like I say, I do feel for people, and I do find myself in a unique situation that I don't think is probably even possible for a lot of people. There might be a lot of people that have the sentiments that I have, but don't have the system around them that would allow that to, take hold in a world that, goes to hell, they would, have a lot of crabs in a bucket, if you will, around them that would just end up in the demise of everyone around them, rather than, any kind of plan or any kind of, like you said, knowing where to point the energy. And yeah, I can understand how, it can be tough because, your natural instincts to preserve and protect your family and stuff could lead you to do things that in the long run, put them at, at worse risk at the cost of, not having that like hardened attitude towards certain things. So I definitely can see that. And maybe we're I feel like we're a little starved for a themed episode. Maybe that could be one of our themes, post-apocalypse, Mad Max world. Well, what is it really like? Let's talk it out. Like people, hopefully maybe people can get involved with the channel and give us their takes, and um, whether we're right or wrong, or if they ever even think that this type of thing could ever happen. There's still, obviously there's a lot of people that don't think that this is even possible in the modern era, modern world. It's just we're so far advanced. We've already been through Flappy Bird. If we could live through Flappy Bird, we can live through anything. We're so strong as people now. But truly, greater civilizations have gotten worse than. So anyway, the proof's in the pudding that, in my opinion, that there will be a day, and it might not be the way we think about it, to where it's like this Mad Max and like this movie scene type thing. But one thing's for certain, if we don't understand our position on the back foot right now, we're only just going to keep getting pushed back further and further. And I don't know if there is a wall. I don't think there's a wall. I think we just keep getting pushed back, and the real goal is to start making up ground and start walking back forward. And I can't think of the last generation. Like I said, it was like maybe the 90s was the last generations of people that were like that. Maybe they didn't walk forward, but they didn't like getting pushed back, and they weren't really getting pushed back on certain things. But since then, whether or not it's the Sesame Street, it's the Barney, something got to these kids, because I knew of the show and I watched certain ones when I was a kid, but they certainly never got to me. I watched something, oh, what the fuck is this? This is garbage. And yeah. And so it's like, I don't know if there's just certain people that are prone to that programming that makes them these drones nowadays. But like I said, for a lot of it, it comes back to the 90s for me, and I just really wish we could have held on longer. It's like our parents, some of our parents, and that generation just before us, they were able to hold off and push back those initial shitty contraptions they tried to sell us to get us into that mindset. But something's shifted, and whether or not it's peace and people getting too soft in certain areas, and so they allow their kids to instead of teaching their kids the hard lessons that they had to learn, instead they're like, I don't want my kids to learn hard lessons, I want them to have an easy life. Well, an easy life does you no good. It's such a hard thing to want to think about. But I have a daughter and I have a son, and I just, it's one thing to like want to provide and make your kid's life easy, but what if what does that do for them when you're not around, when they don't know how to do anything, and they don't, it's such a death sentence that people don't even realize they're giving them. They're feeding their kids Pop-Tarts. This could go into a whole nother thing, but anyway, like I was saying, we should definitely aim for a theme. It might not end up being next week, we'll see. We do want to bring themes back to to the podcast because they really were fun. And not to say that riffing isn't a blast. It's just another beast, I guess. But I don't know if you had anything else you wanted to touch on before we call it a night.
Yeah, I think maybe we can do that for next episode. Kind of like I was saying, kind of like that show, Life After Humans or whatever, that type of world or something like that. Give our philosophy and our what we think on that, and I mean, because I believe it's, from where we are, it's whatever's going to happen is, it's going to happen in our lifetime, but I don't know what it's really going to be like or how much time we're going to be here, and we might just get taken out right away. We might not. We might live through a little bit of it. It's hard to say. I mean, how it's going to go down, but just kind of like give I guess our take of how it would go down, how it would look like, what even, what you would do or I would do or what we're gonna do, or maybe options for other people and stuff. It's just like places to go, or where maybe it's just like what some people might even want to do. Some people, like I said, they might just want to, or they might just leave in the country, or might want to get out of the country or something too. It's like or if that will even do you any good, where do you go? What do you do? It's a really interesting, concept and question too, because you just kind of got to hope, like I said, you go down by the equator, they leave you alone, you live your life, you do what you want to do, or they're going to take you out with something else or find a way to get you there. So it's,
we should do like like an event 177, or I don't know. But make it like a tabletop exercise and like introduce, we'll come up with the cataclysm or the breakdown of society, and we'll have to go from there, almost like D&D. Because it's so weird too that like the governments of the world just play D&D openly, and then they base what happens on it like into your law, like the Event 201 and all those things. They're all like D&D sessions. You have like a moderator, and you have like randomly generated things happen, supposedly randomly generated.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I'll write that down actually. Just we'll see where we go with some different.
Yeah, it's interesting too, because this, like I said, tonight was 25, and the importance of 25 and everything, and this year and this number, it's just not been going away. And then next episode is 26, like God, Cobain, COVID, all 26. So God, Cobain, COVID, 26, a lot of big things at 26 letters in the alphabet. So 26 is big, and then 27, 27 club, big ritual number coming up as well. And you got to think too, there's 52 weeks in a year, so half of 52 is 26. So we're halfway through the year of these videos already. This since we started there in September, that was already half a year ago. It's crazy. It's just like by then that was like the start of fall or whatever. Now we're like the start of spring. So we've covered the winter equinox and stuff. So we're moving into the summer equinox and stuff. And yeah, it's a really interesting time. I mean, it's there's a lot of things coming. There should be a lot to look forward to. Hopefully, I don't know too. It seems I don't know. I think we lost like a subscriber or two or something. It said, or I think our sub went down or something.
I've seen it fluctuate a couple times, but it's hung around to like upper 120s. But yeah, it is what it is. Yeah, I don't pretend to know exactly why it's taken the dips and rises it has. Like I said, I do appreciate more so that we're able to kind of chronicle our thoughts and ideas in the meantime, and hopefully build towards something else, something more eventually. And like I said, we like I say all the time, we have eventual goals and plans that we want to reach that we haven't even like come up with yet, flesh them out completely. But I don't think the end goal is for us to do a podcast once a week. So I think, in the meantime, I'm not super concerned with it, because I think, just based on our two styles and the fact that we might be able to, that we're more than likely drum up controversy if we were to, do lives and certain things like that, that's just a natural attractor, whether it's positive or negative. It attracts people's attention. So there's different ways to go about, or, naturally, that it'll naturally, come. And I just think as it is right now, this isn't necessarily the flashiest, best thing. We're able to learn, long form talking environments. It's not like I've ever been a part of a podcast or any kind of like talking group that we talk for, a long time and like air out our thoughts and have poignant ideas for long periods of time. So like, it's also, I think, just healthy human wise too, that, we're able to get together and put out our thoughts and react to each other. But apart from that, I think there is some skills to it. And um, hopefully with my internet being mostly solved, I can eventually start doing some of the other editing type of things I've wanted to do. And if we're able to get together more often, maybe put out, some different style of content, like some funny videos or quick videos, things of that nature. So yeah, I don't base our brand, if you will, on what we have right now. I've always kind of thought that it's just like, this is it's so much more fruitful doing this than just doing nothing and like waiting till we have something we think is more perfect. Because I've thoroughly enjoyed this, and we've gotten bursts of views, and near 130 subscribers is more than I don't know. It's not like all of them listen, and who knows how many of them are bots. That's what it is. What it is. I'm not
Yeah.
like I'm not super.
Yeah, because we haven't really gotten any comments either lately too. I know they've been scrubbing comments too and taking comments down and stuff too. So I don't know if we haven't really got too many comments or a lot of views or anything lately. So I think it's kind of been the same people. But I know and that's kind of the other thing too. I wanted to bring up too is just like we're just. I mean, like you said, I mean, I feel the same exact way. I mean, this is just we do what we do because this is just it's not about the subs and the views and all that. I mean, you're going to be buried right now, anyways. And that's this thing right now. It's you can't get any traction. It's just the way it's the whole community. Gematria and Zach and Zach's been talking about the whole just Gematria community. I mean, and everybody here, we're so suppressed. I mean, you can't. We always say we're in the the end days of reaching people and getting people the information and spreading the word, and it's become very difficult, and um, we've just lost, with the online censorship, we've lost a lot of community. There's not many people here around anymore. It's just, this is the way it is. It just seems like everyone's just kind of falling off and doing their thing. So, we kind of just more, do these videos and stuff. Just, it's like our own, it's like our own style for our, it's like our own fun. This is, just kind of like what we like to do. It's not, based on, how, how successful you are because we are it's being manipulated anyways, but it's um the timing and how manipulated it is right now. So it's not about that. It's just about, like you said, getting out, our unique perspectives and, what things that we know or we think are interesting and, we like to look into or think people should look into. And that's huge because that's what's, missing a lot of people. Like I said, you get these, garbage debates and garbage channels, and they're making, $10,000, in a stream in a night for, complete garbage and nonsense, and, pushing a bunch of crap. But then you get, people like us that, have, factual information or real things to show or present, or, how, accurate, like we've been, doing with NASCAR and stuff, and putting that on the money, and what we've been talking about. These aren't going to be the things that are going to be, promoted and talked about, because it's like, it's like I said, it's like we both have something to offer, but it's like nobody, most people don't want what you have to offer. But it's like, it's not about that. It's just about the fact that, we have a purpose, we have something to offer, and because we have a purpose, we have something to offer, we're just going to do what we're going to do, and it just doesn't matter, and no one else matters, and it's just kind of like what it's going to be is what it's going to be. I mean, like I said, there's only so much at the end of the day you can do about things, and it's just like, it's why we, there's so many things you do. I mean, you go out, you pound pavement, like I said, you get bumper stickers in your car, you chalk up the park, you try and maybe talk to people here and there, and um, just do what you can. It's what it's all about. And I mean, like I always say, most people don't even have a channel or anything. They don't even, so for us to be doing what we're doing, I mean, we're already leaps and bounds ahead of all these other people anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I agree. And, I think as long as we keep pushing forward and, keep a goal in mind, and we're the kind of people that will eventually force ourselves to reach our goal, and, then beyond that is sky's the limit type of deal. And, not to mention just our, just me and you evolving, you know, together, just, because like, once again, we've hung out twice, and it's, we've, like I said, other than pounding pavement with Zach, and, we have plans on doing a whole lot more. And, so these things will, uh, what's the word? They'll grow, and we'll come into our own, when we're actually able to do, who hopefully, in person type events, and videos, and things that, can maybe reach a broader audience, uh, especially, live people on the streets potentially too. But yeah, I guess with that said, we do have an idea for a theme of next video, and talking about, a post-apocalyptic, maybe not post-apocalyptic. That can be, whatever your take is on uh, the ending of these days, not the ending of days altogether. The sun blows up. Let's not go there. But just, what we have now, what happens when this form of society crumbles. And you can come up with why it crumbles, if it's a cataclysm, if it's, whatever the reason is. Give us your thoughts and your ideas. And, you could even play, game moderator too. You could tell us the scenario, and, if we read it in the comments, we'll, add that to what we discuss next week.
Yeah,
But
like
yeah,
5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years down the line, when we're, you know, even twice the age, we are now. It's like, are we still here? What happens the next 30 years? What's that going to be? What's going to be the next 20? What's going to be the next 10? About the next 5? Like, even like predictions, things like that, what to expect, what might happen, and just where things are going, and the pace of things, and things that we might see and stuff. Yeah, I think it's kind of good to have an episode like that. We just kind of go out there and just kind of think about these things or predict these things, because soon before you know it, it's going to be our reality anyways.
yeah, we're definitely halfway or further there already.
Oh yeah.
It's hard to tell, but it's like part of you wants it to be closer than that. It's just like, man, can this just be can this just be done? Whatever
Yeah.
this is, can this just be done? I'm almost ready for the torture chamber in hell compared to this. At least I know what I'm getting there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was fun. And once again, another successful call on the NASCAR, another beneficial talk about some interesting things, and what we're really doing here with each other as coexisting humans, and what we should be doing, and what should we be thinking about moving forward, and how should we be holding ourselves moving forward, and where do we point this angst and anger especially when it all crumbles society wise. I think these are all important things to discuss, and it might seem brash and a little bit, harsh to talk, hear people talk about, but I do think it's important. It's not like I could care less what people think about me based on what I said. I've never cared about that kind of stuff. So, and I don't think I ever will. So I don't care. No monetization or any kind of weird stuff could ever, I don't think, change my demeanor and stuff like that. Hopefully, that's I said it now on, in the future when we're mega popular and we're just, hitting the red carpets and going to the eyes wide shut parties, you can bring this back and be like, hey, you said you would never do that. I'll be like, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. That's like, yeah, we're not the ones writing the Georgia Guidestones and spraying the sky and controlling the weather and doing all this. We're just we're just observing it and telling you who is doing it and who is behind it, and what their plans are and what they're doing, what they have been doing, and where things are going. I mean, it's not like whatever we're doing. It, like I said, it's I don't see how you can call it or say that it's negative or depressing. I would just call it reality and the way the world is and the way the world works. It should just be all this facts and real and true information. The way how things actually are compared to what people might think they are.
I would tend to agree. Well, on that note, have a great rest of your week, people. See you next week with a brand new 26. And until then, deuces.
Peace.